Uh, I can't hear you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Nidhi ma'am. There is some technical glitch. We
Okay.
will start.
Hello. Akshit, sir. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Now you are audible.
Okay. Yes, sir. So I think fine. So are we good to start, or we shall wait for next 5 minutes to, I think, sort out the technical glitch that we are
And
facing?
we should wait for next 5 minutes
Oh, no, no issues, sir.
until
No problem.
Sonia ma'am figure this out.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay. Thank you so much.
Am I audible now? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. It's a check. You are audible.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, and participants. It is my distinct honor to welcome you all to the final day of the Faculty Development Program on the role of generative AI and its applications in today's era. Over the past few days, we have embarked on an insightful journey into the transformative power of generative AI, one of the most revolutionary technologies of our time. Generative AI is no longer confined to research labs. It has seamlessly integrated in our everyday lives, from creating art and music to enhancing healthcare diagnostics, from powering virtual assistants to enabling groundbreaking innovations in education and business. Generative AI has proven its versatility and potential. Today, as we conclude this program, we have a unique opportunity to reflect on our learnings, identify areas for future exploration, and envision how we can incorporate these insights into our professional practices. Let us use this moment to strengthen our resolve to be proactive contributor to the responsible development and application of generative AI. Let us make this concluding day a celebration of knowledge, a commitment to progress, and a stepping stone toward even greater achievements in the field of generative AI. Now, let me introduce the first speaker of the day, Ms. Nidhi Grover Raheja. Ms. Nidhi is a dynamic and result-oriented technical trainer with extensive expertise in Python, advanced Python, data science, machine learning, NLP, and BI tools, including Tableau and Power BI. With a proven track record in delivering impactful training programs, she is currently enriching the learning experience as a guest faculty at Delhi Skills and Entrepreneurship University, specializing in visualization tools and storytelling within the data analytics department. She's also associated with Indira Gandhi Delhi Technological University for Women as a trainer. In addition to her role at DSEU, she has served as a data analytics and AI trainer for numerous companies and educational institutions. She has also published a book, Python Programming for Students, by BPP Publication in January 2024. She has held she has also held her position as an assistant professor at BCIIT and IITM, to name a few. Her experience also includes serving as a technical trainer at CMC Limited, where she conducted project-based training in J2EE. She is certified in Big Data, Hadoop, and Spark development and has achieved UGC NET in Computer Science in 2013-14 and GATE in Computer Science in 2015. With a master's degree in computer science and engineering, she is dedicated to empowering individuals with the knowledge and skills needed to excel in the ever evolving field of technology. I extend heartfelt welcome to you on behalf of BCIIT. Now I request Ms. Nidhi to carry forward the session. Welcome
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. Thank you so much for a great introduction. Thank you. So I think it's time we can begin. So my name is Nidhi Grover Reheja and Sonia ma'am has already introduced me. So I'll be taking you all through this session where we are going to discuss a brief about like how generative AI has progressed to ChatGPT, what ChatGPT exactly is, what are the different GPTs that are included in ChatGPT, and especially we are going to talk about like how you can use ChatGPT for your academic research, like a scholar, as a research scholar, how can you write papers, how you can use the different GPT models to skim out your papers, to summarize your articles, how to write them, how to separate out what exactly you are looking for, because it's really tough when you are just googling it and you are just trying to find out the exact thing, and you are just going through numerous papers, you are reading all that, the stuff that has been going on in a manual manner from past so many decades. It has now been shortened, it has now been automated with the help of ChatGPT. So we'll be looking out specifically focusing on research in academia. So we'll be doing that. Along with that, I'll also explain you how ChatGPT exactly works, what the model is. So without wasting any time, let's go about it. And just sharing my screen with you. Sonia ma'am, can you please just give me a check as in when my screen is visible to all?
Sure, sure.
Is my
Yes, the
screen
screen.
visible?
Yes, it is
Okay.
visible.
Thank you for the check, ma'am. So the session is about generative AI with ChatGPT, and the agenda for our today's session would be a brief introduction one to generative AI, because you all might be aware about the technology because of the past so many sessions that has been going on with generative AI. So I'll just brief out a little bit just to be on the same page as you all. Then we'll work upon understanding ChatGPT, what it is, what are the capabilities, benefits, and shortfalls of ChatGPT. In fact, we'll also talk about the different GPT models that are included with ChatGPT. So that would be our main focus. Then we'll talk about some business applications. We'll see what are different prompts that you can use in different domains. Just a brief hands-on on that, and we'll have a small hands-on, some small visual illustrations for ChatGPT with special focus on academia and research. So that's going to be our agenda for this particular session. Now, without wasting any further time, let's go about generative AI and what it is. So this is about me. I am a technical trainer and I have almost 11 plus years of experience. My skill set includes Python, data science, ML, Tableau, Power BI, Gen AI, and so many more technologies, because I really love delving deep into this field. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn also. I have posted my link over there in the chat box. Okay. Anyhow, what is Chat GPT? Before Chat GPT, let us talk about the major technology, which is the umbrella technology for GPT, LLMs, and so many other generative AI technologies and models. So the umbrella term is generative AI. The switch has been from AI to machine learning to deep learning and to generative AI. It has been a complete journey that generative AI has followed. And you can see in this particular visual the buzzwords that are around AI and machine learning. So the actual journey started from artificial intelligence. The first technology that actually came about was AI, where people were writing programs, with the ability to learn. They were trying to make the machine to learn for for the purpose of decision making. They wanted the machine to take decisions, the better decisions in a particular scenario, so as to develop smart and intelligent machines. Okay, smart machine is one thing. There is a difference, although we use these two terms simultaneously, but there is a difference between a smart machine and an intelligent machine, and both the machines can be built with the help of AI. The only small difference that is between smart and intelligence is smart machine is the one which actually follows the task that you say it. It is just like your slave. It is a smart slave. It is doing exactly what you want. It is doing exactly the query. It is giving you that answer that what you are asking for. It is doing exactly what you are telling him to do. That is a smart machine. Okay, which is repetitively doing that particular task that you have assigned to it. But an intelligent machine is the one which can take decision itself. For example, if you're just creating a model which is trying to classify different objects, for example, for an interior decor company, if I try to make a model which is, every time it is taking a pic of the particular room, it is trying to find out the different objects. So this particular thing is a smart model where it is trying to objectify everything, and every time I'm giving a picture, it is trying to find out different objects present in that particular model. It is not taking any decision, it is just recognizing and classifying different objects. So this is an application which is of a smarter machine type, right? Now consider another example where we are talking about, self-driving machines, where we are talking about something where the machine has to take a decision, or robotic operations, robotic surgeries that are happening nowadays in hospitals. Those are intelligent machines because they have to take decisions then and there. If somebody is being operated, if they are conducting a surgery, the complications or the surgery procedures is going to be live. It is going to be on the runtime without the know-how. It has no previous, for that particular instance, it has previous knowledge, but it does not have the previous knowledge about the latest current surgery that it is doing. It has to take the decision at the go, at the runtime. Or if we are talking about the self-driving cars, then also it has to take the decision at that particular moment. Okay, which turn it has to make, or that particular area is closed, or a bump is there, or a dead end is there, whatever it is, it has to take the decisions then and there only. So these are the examples of the intelligent machines because they have to take decisions on the fly. Now, in the subdomain of artificial intelligence comes what is machine learning. It is a subset of AI, and here in the machine learning domain, algorithms are trained with the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So they have to learn from the data that you are providing. So machine learning is basically data intensive technology which is taking a lot and lot of data, and from that data it is finding out trends, it is finding out patterns, it is learning what is happening in your past data in order to make that important particular thing forecast. भविष्य के बारे में बताना, that is the particular thing. So it is talking about how the future forecast is, what the future forecast exactly is. So in order to do that, machine learning is working on a lot of data set. It is getting trained over that data set, and finally it is giving you certain answers on the forecast. Now you can do that with the help of typical traditional machine learning. You can use a lot of classification models, you can use a lot of regression models, clustering models, and so on. But at till a particular time only. What happens when data is certainly so big? It is, when you're trying to not only work with text data, because text data is somewhat easy to manage. I think in my experience, in my opinion, text data has been easy to manage because text data is something which is easy to be understood by machine also, by humans also. But what happens when we switch the data towards your images, when we switch the data towards multimedia, specifically images, then combinations of images and text, combination of video, which is again a combination of images, some text, some tagging and all that stuff, your geological data, your coordinates data and so on. So things actually get a bit tricky. So in that particular domain, when you're working with that type of data, it is not easy, or it is not feasible to work with simple traditional ML models. Now you need to bring about further more intelligence into your models, and that can be brought about with the help of the usage of neural networks, or specifically we say deep neural networks. So that is the most important thing that we have to use with complicated data sets. So here we come about with a technology which is known as deep learning, because it is using layers of neural networks into it. And deep learning is specifically the subset of machine learning. It is using artificial neural networks to imitate human learning behavior, to imitate how humans can perceive things, how humans can perceive information, interpret them through multiple layers of intelligent neurons, and then it can learn from huge repositories of data to find out trends, to find out patterns, to work on something, either to classify, to forecast, or to do different numerous things. Okay, so these were the three technologies that are traditional technologies, and we know a bit about them. Now here comes the last and the final point, or turning point, I would say, that came about in the previous 5 years. Generative AI is not a 5-year technology, it's long back, but I would say the usage, the ultimate usage, or the hype of the usage, like in previous 5 to 7 years, you can see a lot of stuff, lot of tools, lot of softwares that are using generative AI, that is working on generative AI, and so and so on. So what exactly is generative AI? The question arises, what exactly is generative AI? Now, I would like to answer the question is arising from the need. Okay. Now, when you are dealing with multimedia data, you are dealing with lot of images, you are dealing with lot of videos, you are dealing with lot of text. Now you need machines, you need your algorithms to be trained on massive amount of data in order to give good predictions, or in order to give good classifications on that, on particular data. You need good training material for that data. Now how to generate that training material? Generative AI, the name itself suggests you are generating something new which was not present previously. Okay, if it would have been present previously, there would no need to generate it, but we don't have that particular data set, that huge amount of data set on which we can actually train our model. We don't have huge repositories of images. Like for example, I give you just a simple example. If you need a model where you want to uh, you know create a face recognition model, a simple face recognition model, you would be needing around 10,000, 20,000 images, which are obviously available in public domain. Most of them are available. But in order to create very robust face recognition systems, or very robust retina recognition systems, and so on, facial features recognition, or facial real-time facial animation kind of problems where you are working on GANs and so on, you need very massive amount of data, massive repositories of data. You can't get that data easily. Nobody's going to work with you and give you the sensitive photographs for so that you can train and use them. Nobody's going to share that kind of images with you. So what are we left with? What are we left with? We have to generate artificial data for us. We need to generate that data which is not exactly the real data, but it is tough to differentiate it from real data. So it's a fake data, it's a kind of a generated data, and the technology which is generating that data that can help you positively in your applications is known as generative AI. So it is trying to generate text, it is trying to generate new presentations for you, new Excel files for you, new calculations for you, writing new code for you. Apart from this, it is helping you to generate new images, new videos, multimedia files, Instagram posts, LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, and so on. So it is trying to generate any kind of stuff that can help you, that you can work upon. So that is generative AI. Okay, so I hope all the four terms are quite clear to you, how they have been used, or what exactly has been the workflow of the technologies. It is quite clear to you. The evolution time, you can see in 1950s it was AI, then machine learning in 1980s, then around early 20s, we have early 2010 we had deep learning coming about. It was, hype on the hype. Now we have generative AI models, and generative models are something which are the future, which is actually the future technology, and we are very much working upon that technology. Okay, now coming about AI. So AI, we know the father of AI is John McCarthy, and he is the scientist who coined the term artificial intelligence. We have already talked about artificial intelligence. It is just like thinking like humans. It is imitating the human thought procedure, human thought process with the help of those artificial neurons. So applications of AI have been a lot many, like data recognition, automated decision making, simulators, games, smart devices, virtual assistants, chatbots, anything related to healthcare diagnosis, imaging, robotic surgeries. We have VR, AR games, VR, AR applications, that also thing. So immersive applications we have. Then we have content generation also. So specifically content generation is the one thing which is the most important focus of generative AI, whether it be text, images, video, speech, or anything like that, right? Okay, so major technologies under AI have been machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, computer vision, and generative AI. These have been, the core technologies which are surrounding artificial intelligence. This is a visual where you can see, the club, or the mesh of the technologies that are surrounding around AI, generative AI. Specifically, ChatGPT 4 is in the center. That means ChatGPT is the most important AI, generative AI tool that everybody is using nowadays, right? So we have to learn like how we can positively use it for, for enhancing the skills, for creating good content for us. Okay. So generative AI, as I said, it is concerned with developing models and algorithms that may generate fresh and unique content. So the main thing is that we need to develop models and algorithms that are mainly focused on generating fresh and unique content for you, which is not previously present for you. It is something which is, it is creating it, is generating it, through the help of the algos, through the help of adversarial networks, encoders, and so and so on. Right? Okay. So generative AI applications are like image generation. You can create images through it. Video synthesis, like video prediction. It is something more complicated as compared to images, because in image you have to, you can simply create an image. You can simply give a prompt and you can create an image out of it. But video is like frame by frame. You have to see which particular frame is the current frame, and from that what prediction could be done for the next frame. So video prediction is again, generating future frames and sequencing those frames with the help of the input frames. So that is the part of video synthesis. Then we have social media content generation also, where we can create the posts for LinkedIn, we can create the posts for Facebook, and Twitter, X, and any other thing, any other social media platform that you can use. Okay, so there have been many applications of generative AI that we could have used. Okay, coming back here, artificial intelligence versus traditional intelligence, machine learning, and generative AI. So this is the main, the distinction between all these technologies if we consider them. So but when we consider AI develops computer systems that can perform tasks typically that require human intelligence. So you require human intelligence, and you are trying to imitate the intelligence behavior of humans. Okay, when we talk about traditional machine learning, it is only restricted to making predictions and forecasting. So when you want to predict things, when you want to classify, predict, regress things based on a given initial data, then that particular thing is your traditional machine learning part. Generative AI, on the other hand, is creating new samples, it's creating new and fresh content for you that resembles a given training set. So you need to give some initial test data, and based on that test data, based on the training data, it is generating new and fresh values, new and fresh text, images, or video synthesis for you. Data interaction, if we consider, AI models use various techniques designed to mimic human behavior, human intelligence, whether it is particle swarm optimization or ant colony optimization. We are tracking down how ants are working, how the birds are navigating, and birds are flying, birds are working on that. We're trying to imitate the behavior of humans and other living beings also. In traditional ML, the model is learning only from the previous data set that you are giving. Is trying to make predictions and decisions on the on the new or unseen data that we are working on. Finally, in generative AI, models produce new data that were not a part of the original data set. Now, this is something very, very important that you can look forward to. Generative AI tools and much more. So we have different generative AI tools for different parts, for different tasks. So if we consider text generation tools, if we specifically talk about the Gen AI tools that work on text, we have GPT models. Okay, so when I talk about GPT, I am not limited to Chat GPT. Chat GPT is one of the model. Okay, it is not the entire thing. It is just one of the model that that is based upon GPT models. Okay, then we have Jasper, AI Writer, Lex, and so on, which all are text generation models. Apart from this, we have Microsoft Copilot also, which is again a model given by Microsoft. We have Google Gemini also. Then we have Meta AI also. All of them are nowadays they are front end tools that are available for you for text generation and for other multimedia generation also. Let me show you a bit about it. So this is how Chat GPT looks like. All of you must be aware about how to use Chat GPT, but we'll do the hands on today. So this is the interface of Chat GPT. You can work with Chat GPT like this. You can just write down, you can ask it to do anything. So suppose I say write a web page that can give my introduction as a Java developer. Okay, as Java. So it can write a web page code for you. It can just give you you can see here it is giving you the HTML code, which you can exactly after some modifications you can just paste it into some of the web generating tools, web development tools. Like you can put it in your VS Code, or you can put it in another any other web development tool. You can use it with Python also if you are using some backend language, and then you can integrate that to create a web page for yourself. Or you can just simply put the code into another like WordPress or something like that, where you are creating your own web page. So you can see it can create stuff for you, but you actually need to there is a limitation to it, that you have to work on it yourself. You need to check whether things are correct or not, right? Okay, anyhow, just an intro. Like, this is a Chat GPT model, and you can just simply give a prompt and get it working, right? Okay, then similar to Chat GPT, we have Meta AI. You can ask anything. You can ask it to imagine an image. You can ask it to make my email sound professional. You can ask it to write an email for you. Okay, so we can say draft an email for my employer. You can say for my employer. uh, you can say giving him the last 1 year report, 1 year report on my work. Okay, so if it needs some other details, it will ask you. So okay, we can say continue without logging in. I'm not logging in into anything. Here I can specify, say 2024, and then finish. Okay, so it can generate some content for you. You are unable to use Meta AI. Okay, maybe my okay, I need to log in for that first. But on this seminar, I can't log in with my credentials, so I'm not logging in right now. Anyhow, you can use your own credentials and you can just work with Meta AI, but you need to log in either with Instagram or Facebook for it. Then you have Microsoft Copilot also. Here also you can just ask it to write a web page for you, or ask it to create an image for yours, for your particular thing, for your flow of work. And then we have Google Gemini. So this is, this is the interface of Google Gemini. Again, it is using 1.5, and Google Gemini is, it is integratable with you can integrate Gemini to create your own customized GPTs also. So it is a very, very nice move by Google, because you do not actually need to pay for the key, the API key. Like in OpenAI, you need to pay for certain stuff, for certain key, but with Gemini you can use it for free, and you can create your own custom GPTs, right? So these are the four major text generation user interfaces that you can actually use to create your stuff, to create your work, to create text, or to create images for yourself, right? Okay, apart from it, if we come back to our presentation, we can see we have image diffusion tools also. We have DALL-E 2, and we have Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. All this can be used with OpenAI. Okay, if you are using the advanced models, and then you can use all of them to create images. Then music generation tools, if you want to work on music, if some of you are trying to research on music part and you want to work on music generation tools, you can work with Amper, Databots, and MuseNet. Then code generation tools also, we have Codex, CodeStarter, GitHub Copilot, one of the most used Copilot, GitHub Copilot for working with code, especially Python, Java code, right? And Tab9 also. Then we have video synthesis tool. If you want to work with videos and you want to synthesize or create new videos frame by frame, you can use Descript, Listener, Podcast.ai. So these are some of the video generation or video synthesis tools. Finally, if you want to work on AI chip design tool companies, you want to see, which are the different AI chip design companies which are actually designing the chips for, and they are providing you GPUs, TPUs, and so on, so on. So they are Synopsys, Cadence, Google, and NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is something which is providing you GPUs, TPUs, and you get Colab GPUs, TPUs also, and those are again from integration of NVIDIA. So it is one of the major companies that is working with the server part of this generative AI models, right? Okay. So coming to common Gen AI models, so when we talk about generative AI models, then we have two differentiations. We have deep generative models for multimedia, which includes your image, text, and audio, video, and speech, everything. Then you have large language models. So Gen AI, large language models we have, which are specifically working on GPTs and so on. So when you talk about deep generative models for multimedia, you have GANs. The name is, very, very popular nowadays, generative adversarial networks. All deep fakes, they are using deep GANs. If you want to style out your images, there are style GANs. Then if you want to mix images, there are mesh GANs. There are so many type of GANs, temporal GANs you have, and style GANs, and so on, that you can use for generating new multimedia values. Like it could be realistic images, it could be working on animations, working on videos, and so on. If you want to work on predictive text and speech recognition, you can work with transformers. Then you have variational autoencoders also, which are again being used for generating images and text, flow-based models, diffusion models, recurrent neural networks, which is the basics of, all the stuff that we are working with, uh, images and multimedia stuff. So we have recurrent RNNs, recurrent neural network models, which are being used furthermore in deep generative AI models. Then coming to the next category of Gen AI models, which is large language models, we have generative pre-trained transformer, that stands for GPT. So GPT itself is generative pre-trained transformer, and we have a lot of models that are working on this GPT. We have GPT-2, which was the previous and earlier most version of ChatGPT. It was based upon ChatGPT was based upon ChatGPT 2, 3, 3.5, 4, and current model is ChatGPT 4o. O means Omni. ChatGPT 4 Omni is the current and the latest version of ChatGPT model, the default one that you are using right now. Then you have Llama. Llama is the model for Meta that we saw, Meta AI. So again, you can use Llama. The base model of Meta is Llama. Then Google's base model is BERT. Palm 2 again for Google. Then Bloom again, another model for generative AI LLM models. Right? So these are some of the models. There are many more models. This is just a glimpse of what popular models are, and which category they are falling into. Okay. Then talking about ChatGPT, so ChatGPT, here we are going to explore ChatGPT, its capabilities, benefits, limitations, and its potential in revolutionizing business operations. So when you talk about ChatGPT, you need to first go through LLMs. What are LLMs? LLM is the large language model, which refers to the type of AI model which is specialized in processing and then generating human-like response based on its training data. So it's similar to like you're talking to a friend, you are chatting with your friend on WhatsApp, you are chatting with your friend on any other messaging website. You are just putting some query, it is answering you, then you are answering that, then he's asking you another thing, you are answering that, he's answering that. So that is going to be a two-way communication. So LLMs are focused on making this very very user friendly, the process. It is based upon the large language model. That means it is based upon the human language model. You are asking the system, asking the machine, in a way you ask your friend, in a way you ask help from your friend. You are just typing messages and you are working like that. Okay, so it is taking the input, it is processing it, tokenizing it, encoding it, finding out the answers for it, and then giving you the output for it. So LLMs learn by identifying patterns in the training data. It has its own knowledge base. So according to that knowledge base, it has already learned, it is trying to find patterns, it is trying to recognize what you are trying to ask, and then it is giving you answers. So for instance, they learn the structure of sentences, they learn the common phrases that you are using, the relationship between words in context. All these are done through calculations. Okay, so they can use this learned pattern to generate text that only mimics human like behavior. So you feel as if some human is sitting at the back end and it is answering you, in that manner. You feel, the feel is the human behavior, right? The feel, you're getting a feel of the human behavior mimic, right? Okay, now coming to what makes LLM so impactful, because of their ability to process and generate human like responses. So this is something which is truly impactful because it is giving you human like answers. Now if you consider working on Google, and if you consider working on GPT models, then you would see that Google is just finding out, its spiders and web framework is finding out the links to your answers, the best suited links, with the help of PageRank algorithms developed by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. So they are just trying to, find out which are the relevant pages that could be, the answers to your queries, and then they are giving you those specific links. Okay, it is not giving you the exact answer. So that touch, that feel of being, talking to a human is not there. It is as if you will get the hints or the links to your answers, and then you have to search them yourself. But when you talk of a GPT model, it actually gives you the exact answers. Okay, if you're not satisfied with that answer, you can give another prompt, you can ask for further clarification, you can ask for further topic, subtopic, or whatever clarification you want. You can type it down and it will give you according to that. So that is very impactful, because the feel is as if you are talking to a teacher, you are talking to somebody who is more specialized, somebody who is an expert, or a friend of yours that is helping you to understand this particular thing, right? So it is more natural, more intuitive manner, right? So imagine in our library metaphor, not having a librarian at your fingertips or a music composer. The result would be billions of pieces of information. So it's like, a library. Google is like a library without a librarian, because you have to search yourself, where is it? But GPT is like a librarian itself. It can exactly tell you, okay, this is the book that you are looking for. And furthermore, it is like a specialized expert who can tell you, okay, this topic's answer is this, and you can work out like this. Okay, fine. Now coming to ChatGPT, exactly. ChatGPT is an advanced conversational AI model. So this is a specific branch of AI. So this is a conversational AI model which is developed by OpenAI. GPT again stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, indicate that it learns from the internet text, then fine-tunes its responses via reinforcement learning from human feedback. So it is reinforcement learning based on hit and try. It is trying to give you an answer. It is hitting the answer that it thinks that may be the right answer for you. It is giving you that answer. You are not satisfied, you are giving another query, then it is trying to fine tune that answer, then again giving you a reformatted one. Okay, so ChatGPT's work technology is like, it is using deep learning techniques, the deep learning models that we discussed. So ChatGPT utilizes deep learning techniques to understand and generate human like text based on the input it receives. So you can see how ChatGPT is working. So for example, we say explain quantum computing in simple terms. Okay, this is the simple prompt that we have given. So we are asking it to explain me quantum computing. So it remembers what user said. So capability of GPT is that it remembers what user said, because it is going to be a two-way conversation. It is just keeping a track of what you are asking it continuously. It knows what was the previous query that you asked, and how it should link. It should be linked to the further conversation, right? But limitation is that it may occasionally generate incorrect information, because ultimately it's not human. Okay, and humans also do mistake, but it's a machine, and it is liable to make mistakes, right? So it can make mistakes, it can give you incorrect information. So it's a check on you, that please check before you exactly publish, or exactly quote or copy the information from GPT. So if you ask things like, got any creative ideas for 10-year-olds birthday, it allows users to provide follow-up corrections. You can just, it will ask you, okay, do you need further clarifications, do you need further enhancements, further information? So it is asking you. So limitations could be, it may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. So there could be some biases based upon the country, the area, the place, the gender. So that biasness could be there. Okay, now the last example says, how do I make an HTTP request in JavaScript? Like if we say create a web page or create a JavaScript list. Now it is trained to decline inappropriate requests. So it is, if you are like Meta, I asked him certain query, but since I was not logged in, I did not give the ample information, so it declined down my. It said that, okay, your query cannot be answered, or I am unable to answer your particular query. So it is actually, it can decline your inappropriate requests if it finds the information is not apt, or it is not very convincing, or you have given insufficient of data. Like it can turn down your request. Then the limitation is because it has limited knowledge of world. But 2021, please do not quote it, because 2021 it was for the previous models. Currently you are using ChatGPT 4o model, Omni model, and its knowledge cutoff is October 2023. So the information that it can have, or it can work upon, the knowledge cutoff is October 2023. Although the knowledge is enhanced regularly, it is updated on the basis, but the batch, the batch of knowledge is cut off till October 2023. So it has the knowledge of everything till October 2023. But after that, the update batch is still in the process. The fresh data is not released on OpenAI. So still we have the fresh, the latest knowledge cutoff till October 2023 only. So this information is previous one. So if you, it has been quoted from another website, which is Zapier, right? Okay. Now coming to another thing, this is a distinguish between the different GPT models that we had. So we had GPT 3.5 earlier. GPT 2 was the very very long time back it was being used. Then it was GPT 3.5, which was being used till last year. Then GPT 4, which was paid version, it was also previous one, it was paid, it was limited. And now we have GPT 4o Omni, so which has much of the capabilities for you, a lot of capabilities in generating images. You can you have the mic facilities also. You can speak your query, you can give image for explanation and do certain stuff. So chat GPT 4o Omni is the current model that you are using. So it was released by OpenAI on 13th May 2024, and its knowledge cutoff is till October 2023. So it can work on text, audio, images, voice mode, anything. It is available, but with a limited accessibility for free. So I think you have 10 prompts or something like that. That is the cutoff for a day. So you can give 10 prompts, and you can work on that stuff for one day. And then your trial of Omni model expires after 10 prompts. Then you have to start, again it switches to GPT 4 and 3.5 model. The default model itself switches to 4 and 3.5. Then again, if you want to continue with that model, you have to wait or pay for it. You have to subscribe it. Otherwise, next day, after 24 hours, you can again go to GPT, and you can again work on that 4o model. So this is provided, right? Okay. Now coming back to chat GPT 4o, I already introduced you to 4o. Now okay, this is some prompts that we have. Okay, let me give you an example of prompts a little bit later. Let's first of all wind up with the textual part of it. So features of ChatGPT, if you think what is the future of ChatGPT, what are the main benefits? So this tool, like others, like it might be seamlessly integrated into computers, smartphones. You have the app also for ChatGPT. You can just work on the app also. You can install app in your phones. You can use ChatGPT for the stuff that you require. You can create your meeting notes. You can create what you need to speak, what you need to the fine points, the bullet points for your presentation. You can create stuff like that. The main benefits are like it is saving your time, because otherwise you would have to do a lot of brainstorm on that part. But it is saving your time, it is saving your effort. So that is the main most important part. So the major benefit is saving time and saving time and effort. So extending it into the fields of your expertise, if you are not exactly expert in that field, again still you can work upon that. You can just have a know-how on it without searching a lot of other stuff. You can just go to ChatGPT for help. It will generate some content for you. You can work upon that. You can try and enhance and improve your data from that there, right? Okay, outputs could be synthesizing information. It could be summarizing what could be different types of outputs. It could be summarizing data. It could be content creation, learning and research specifically, and coding also. It can generate codes also for you, right? Now, the point is like how ChatGPT answers your questions, what are the procedures that it is using, how it is exactly working on it. Okay, so GPT, generative pre-trained transformer, doesn't read words the way like humans do. It is not exactly working in the way like humans do it, because it is not a human, it's a machine. So it has its own procedure. It has the process of tokenizing, embedding, encoding, and output generation. So let me just brief out all these four steps. So when we talk about tokenizing, it means dividing a complete sentence that you have written, a complete uh, question that you have written into small words. Okay, so it will create a bag of words like we used to study in natural language processing, because NLP is quite extensively integrated with ChatGPT. It requires NLP as the base technology that it is using. So it is dividing the entire query that you are putting into tokens. That means it is creating a bag of words for you. Okay, now that bag of words, that tokens are going to be, each of that word is known as a token, and that bag of words, that set of tokens is being embedded. Now when you talk about encoding and embedding, what it is, embedding means collecting them together into a layer from which they can be turned into a vector. Okay, so embedding means creating unique set of words, because you may be repeating words. There may be some useless words, and you need to remove those stop words from your phrase, and then it is going to create a unique bag of words. That bag of words will then be encoded into vector format. So each token is converted into a numerical representation, which is a vector, using that embedding layer. Now why these vectors? Because these vectors, they are helpful in capturing the meaning and relationships between those tokens, how each verb and nouns are related, or that phrase, with the help of its part of speech tagging and all. It will be really helpful for the machine if it is connecting the relationships between the words. It is trying to connect the dots from your words, and then it will be able to give you exact answers that you are looking for, right? It will be helpful in models training. Now finally, it after encoding, it will give the input of that encoded vectors into the transformer architecture, because the architecture beneath is transformer model, because here there is self-attention mechanism, there's positional encoding. So in the order of the tokens, the importance of the tokens is calculated, and in that order the vectors are input, then their relationship is extracted, then on the relevant words the focus is made, and then prediction is happening. Okay, now contextual understanding is also there, prediction and probability assignment is also there. Now what could be the documents that could be giving you the best information from that from that web pages, it is learning from the web, it is learning, and then fine tuning its model to give you exact answers. Okay, so that is going to be the four steps of chat gpt. It is tokenizing, it is embedding the words into a bag of words, and it is encoding them into a vector format, and then calculating the relationship between different tokens, and finally based upon that tokens, it is finding out the relevant information on the web, and then it after it has learned from that information, it is fine tuning that information and giving you the output as the it is generating the output in the textual format. Okay, so these are the different phases. If we talk about how ChatGPT works, the phases are pre-training, fine tuning is happening now, then you have text generation, input processing, text generation, and output display. So what is happening in each phase? If we talk about the pre-training phase is learning language basics. Okay, so it is basically learning the language basics. It is trying to, see, GPT is trained on a, massive amount of data set. The textual data that is collected from internet, which may include, ebooks, which may include articles, websites, blogs, or any other publicly available information. So it is training. It has trained itself from that particular information which is available on the web. Now, during the training, if we talk about the pre-training, the model is actually doing what? It is trying to recognize the grammatical things. Like it is trying to, know the grammar, the syntax, the language rules exactly that it is trying to know. The knowledge representation is trying to find out, it is storing a wide range of information. Then it is recognizing how words and sentences relate in various contexts. What is the relationship between those tokens, those words in different sentences? So basically, there is unsupervised learning that is going on in this pre-training phase, because you have not trained it. There is no predefined data set. On the fly, on the go, the query given by the user, on the basis of that, the model is trained very quickly, and then the model is trying to predict, what could be the answer to this, what could be the next thing that could be given to the user. That is fine tuning itself to in order to adapt to your specific queries to specific tasks. So after pre-training happens, the model undergoes fine tuning with human reviewers. Okay, because you are reviewing the answer, then you are telling it, okay, this I want improvement, or I am specifically looking this particular thing. So you change your prompt, and on the basis of your prompt, the reinforcement happens. It fine tunes its answer and then gives you another value. So it is basically the term that is known as RLHF, that is reinforcement learning from human feedback. So fine tuning is happening with the help of reinforcement learning, with the help of human feedback. Now processing of the query is happening again. Input processing is happening in the form of that tokenization, contextual understanding, the four steps that we learned. So that was input processing. Again, those steps keep on going on. So after tokenization, contextual understanding, prediction and generation, finally you come back to the output display. So what you get is response construction. Okay, so this is where response construction is happening for you. Now the final thing is the limitations. Okay, after your query is being handled and the text has been generated for you, the limitations, what are the limitations that ChatGPT have? Because since it had a limited cutoff, say till October 2023, so it has no real-time update. So you cannot expect it to give you something happened 1 month before, or some paper is published just 1 month before, or some new technology is being proposed 1 month before, 10 days before, yesterday. So you can't expect it to be real-time updated. Okay, that is one thing. Then possibility of errors is there, because a lot of stuff could be, a mix and match from different websites, from different articles. So you have to check, verify the authentication, the authenticity of that particular information that you are getting from ChatGPT. And it is not conscious, guys, understand, there is no human. So it is just for help. Okay, it's just like a slave of yours. You can't expect it to be conscious. So that are some of the limitations. Okay, so benefits, you already know, it's scalable, it has 24/7 availability, it is multilingual, it can support multiple languages, it is cost efficient also, and it can help you to analyze data for your business decisions also. Okay, then shortfalls, I have already told you. Unpredictability is there, because you cannot predict. Okay, sometimes it will give you great results, sometimes it will give you very mediocre results. So it depends, okay, on the machine. Content concerns is also there. It may be inappropriate also, it may be biased also. And finally, contextual understanding is very important for ChatGPT. Okay, now coming, we have talked a lot about generative AI and ChatGPT. Now it's time to do a brief hands-on, specifically with regard to academia and research. How you can work on your research papers, how you can use ChatGPT to write down your research papers and do stuff that you require to. Okay, let's talk about it. So I'm just stopping this sharing and I'm taking you towards ChatGPT. Okay, Just hold on. I'm sharing my screen again with you. Just give me a minute. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Just give
Yes,
me a
ma'am.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Let's go about it now. Now let us talk about like which are the different GPTs that you can work with in order to write research papers, in order to do useful stuff with this. So you have you have different GPT. If you want to explore GPTs, just go to the sidebar task, open sidebar, and you can explore a lot of GPTs over here. You can see a lot of GPTs where you can work with it. Like we have image generator, write for me, scholar GPT, logo creator, consensus, and many more. So today we are going to work with 2-3 GPTs, different GPTs that are integrated with chat GPT. You have to open chat GPT also. You have to explore GPTs, and you have to work with them, right? So let us start with consensus GPT. To, for example, if you are trying to write down a certain say you want to write down a paper, you want to write down, explore the topic. For example, real time facial animation. Okay, let's go about this particular thing. Let us talk about the topic of real time facial animation. Okay, this is one of the topics that are being worked upon nowadays. So I can use this consensus. Okay, not Python. I want to search for first GPT's consensus. Okay, you can work with consensus GPT. Okay, this is your consensus GPT. You can work with consensus. It is an app also. You can go to the app, consensus app also, and you can directly go to the consensus GPT also. Okay. Now you can start this chat will be with reference to consensus app, but it will be inside chat GPT. Okay, so you can say start chat. Just click on start chat. Now you can see here the interface has changed. Now it is no more chat GPT, but included in chat GPT we are using consensus app GPT, right? Okay, now here I can say suppose find papers that discuss the use of GANs in creating real-time facial facial animation, say. Okay, facial animation. And I also am giving a prompt where I'm saying, okay, critically analyze why it is a good or bad thing. So I'm just trying to explore the topic, and I'm going to see what are the different papers that are talking about it. Okay, you can just talk about it like this, and then you can ask consensus to find out papers for you. So it is asking you that it wants to talk to main app, consensus app. So you can just say allow, and now it will take a minute. It will give you an introduction. Okay, what it is. Now it is according to your topic, because you are talking about the use of GANs, generative adversarial networks, in creating real-time facial animation. So it is giving you a small introduction, like GANs are increasingly used for real-time facial animation due to their realistic and high fidelity results. Okay, but their implementations have both benefits and concerns. So the evidence of this particular thing, okay, GANs in real time facial animation, the evidence with, the focus of the text is given over here. So you can see the advantages of GANs in facial animation. It has its supported text from these particular papers. Okay, if you just control click these papers, it will open the link of that paper. So here is that exact paper where you are getting that particular thing, realistic speech driven facial animation with GANs, which is talking about the benefit of GANs, right? Okay, then again, challenges and ethical concerns. So it is GAN based system may perpetuate deepfake technologies, enabling misuse in information. So this is something which is for concerning part. So then benefits, if you want to check out the benefits, these 3 papers it is giving you the use of GANs in real-time facial animation, and these 3 papers it is giving you for to look about ethical concerns. So it has it has given you a skimming of the results. It is giving you specifically the things that you are looking for. Otherwise, when you Google it on Google Scholar, or you use other libraries, they give you thousands of results. You have to uh, yourself read about it. You have to take the challenge of reading and then finalizing whether it is helpful for you or not. Okay, so that is the particular part. You can also ask it to write down the links in the format that you can directly click, that you can work upon it. So if you want clickable links and you want exact links of this, you can also ask it to please write the links, rewrite the links to the papers in in the format that can be clicked, and opened. Okay, so it can you can ask it to write, okay, clickable. Now you can see it is giving you clickable links with the the headings, the topics of that particular paper. So now you have your complete links for those, for that particular stuff. So you have these 7 8 whatever, but consensus gives you limited results. Okay, I'm telling you, it is a very nice GPT, but it again gives you 7 8 results. But these are the most probable results that you can have. These are the most important papers that you can read for this particular topic, and then you can furthermore dig into that. Okay, we'll talk about that also, how to furthermore dig into this and how to get more related things. Okay, we are going to talk about it also. So this was the first thing that we have used. Next GPT that we can use, it is really helpful for skimming and storing your papers. So it is AI PDF GPT. Okay, let's talk about the AI PDF GPT also. So first thing we have learned is consensus GPT, which is finding evidence or supports for your statements, for the benefits or concerns. For example, you were trying to find out, so it has found out the evidential text in the form of papers for your support. Okay, now finding out and storing your papers and then skimming out, or you can say finding out the relevant and irrelevant things and then storing accordingly, you can do that with the help of my AI drive. Okay, so let's go about my AI drive. So what you have to do is you have to go to my AI drive. Okay, let's see. I explored GPT model, but before that I need to go to my AI drive. So my AI drive. So just Google to my AI drive. So this is AI drive that you are looking for. Here you can just drop down your papers. You can just store your papers, and then you can use these papers into chat GPT to get the further information. I hope you're getting it, guys. If you're facing any issues, if you have queries, please keep putting them down in the chat box. If somewhere you are if something is missing, just you can okay, Dr. Kripa Trivedi is asking, is this app free to use? Yes, these apps are free for use. You can directly use these apps. Okay, ma'am, you've given birth here as 2024. Okay, I think you're talking about the profile. Okay, that doesn't matter. Okay, I'm quite young. Don't worry. Okay, so is this app free to use? Yes, these apps are free to use. No problems. So coming back to my AI drive. So let's click on AI drive. Okay. This is myaidrive.com. Here we are going to use this drive to store our data. Okay, so this is basically, I have already logged into it. When you will first time log into this, you will try logging into this. It will ask you to log in with your Google account. You can just do it because I have already logged in. So you can see my initial over here. I am already logged in with my Gmail ID. So you can log in yourself, right? Here it will ask you to create your folder. You can create your folder, system by default folder, because for free values, for free action, you have this one folder system which is available to you. Otherwise you need to go to the Pro Access. Pro Access is a paid version. Okay, so we are not going for the pro version. We are just going to work with the free part only. Okay, so free is the system folder that you have already. You have this system folder available with you, and here in the system folder, what you can do is you have to upload files to the system folder. So here you can simply, you will get this plus symbol where you can upload files into this particular folder. File upload, you can click on this plus symbol, go to file upload, and then you can store your files. So this I have already done it for you. For the demonstration purpose, I have already stored these 5 papers. So I have my own repository. For the demonstration purpose, what I can show you is, okay. I just show you, I think I've stored it in D drive. Yes, demo papers. So I have already stored and downloaded the papers. What I have done, I show you the entire process. What I have done is, I first of all went to consensus GPT. It gave me these 8 results. Now I clicked each and every result. Okay, this was the paper that I was looking for. Now I need to furthermore dig into this paper and its related papers. So what I'll do, I'll just click on full text and I'll download this particular thing. I'll download this paper. Okay, from the download option, I can download these papers. So I have downloaded such things, such papers from this particular links. After clicking these links, I've downloaded the papers and I've stored them into a folder in my D drive in the name of demo papers. Okay, these 5 papers I have downloaded. Now I am uploading these 5 papers in my AI drive so that I can use these 5 papers in chat GPT and I can find out answers and I can find out analysis from them. Okay, so basic analysis we'll see, because we have limited time in this particular session. So we'll quickly see. We have these 5 papers downloaded in my system. Then I'll just go to my AI drive, which I have it here. And after clicking on plus symbol, I have uploaded file. It will, you can just click here and then it will go to that particular link. You can just select and open it. So this way you can upload the file over here, all the files over here, right? So once you are doing it, you can copy the link also to the PDF and you can pass it on to the GPT model also. So wherever you can just uh, model that particular thing. Okay, so here we have links also for this particular thing. We can copy also and we can use the things. Okay, anyhow, you can do this particular thing. After this is done, the next part is what we can use. We can use this particular my AI drive in ChatGPT. So let's go to that. I go to ChatGPT once again, and here I explore the GPTs. Okay, so I'm exploring the GPTs once again, and here the GPT is, suppose say AI PDF GPT. So I'm looking for AI PDF drive. So you can see this. That tool was AI drive. Now with that AI drive, I am using that GPT. So in GPT, I have to click on AI PDF drive GPT. Okay. So it will ask me to start chat. Now after consensus chat is over, you are working with AI PDF drive chat now. Okay. So once you are using this AI PDF drive chat, here what you can do is you can give the link of that particular paper that you want to use. Okay. So for example, you have this particular paper. Okay. Now here you have chat, you have copy link to clipboard. You can see these two options. Suppose for paper number 1, I want to use this paper number 1 and I want chat GPT to explore this paper, AI drive paper, right? So here we have two options. We have chat and we have copy link to clipboard. You just copy the link to clipboard. Okay, it will give you the answer, the message that the link is copied. Go back to chat GPT. Okay, and here put this link. Just put this link, shift enter, and then just type down the query. Let's say I am looking for how GANs are being effectively used in real-time facial animation. Okay, so just press enter. Now you have given the link for that particular thing. Now it is saying you that it wants to talk to aipdf.mydrive.com. Now it is going to link to that the drive, your drive, AI drive, okay, with which on which you have uploaded your papers. Now it is specifically now working on that first PDF, the first paper it is working, and it is giving you, summary each page, what the each page is talking about. You can see how beautiful it is doing this thing. It is saying you that on page number 1 in P1 is the name of that particular file that I've stored, paper 1. So on page number 1, it is talking about the utility of GANs in real time. Then it is talking about specifically temporal GAN architecture. Now I don't need to read that entire 10-page article. I can just read this particular thing and I'll get to know, okay, this is from page 2 to 4, it is talking about temporal GAN architecture. Then cross model capability, it's talking about in page number 3 to 4. Page number 2 is again talking about advantages of real-time applications, and page number 14 and 15, it is talking about future direction. So this is how it is done. Okay, for more details you can access the full document here. Now it is giving you the link where you can access the full document also. So how beautifully it has skimmed the paper, it has gone through the paper itself, the specific topics it has given you. You asked it the query that how GANs are being effectively used, so it is giving you beautiful answers, which GAN it is using, which specific topic, on which page it is using. It is giving you that particular thing. Now, suppose I want to furthermore dig into it. I want to say, okay, suppose I'm looking not for temporal GANs, but I'm looking for, say, style GANs, for example. So I can ask it, okay, find evidence for, say, style GANs in this paper. Okay, so it will, I'm trying to find the evidence for style GAN, whether style GAN was mentioned here or not. So it will again try to, connect with that paper. It will try to connect with that paper and it will give me an evidence. Now it is specifically telling me the document does not explicitly reference style GANs directly. So direct evidence is not there. However, it does extremely discuss GANs in facial animation and extensions for video synthesis. Okay, you can review the provided details provided in the paper here. So you can see over here, it was temporal GAN architecture that it was using, but not the style GAN. So in this way, you can actually work with each and every paper. You can explore each and every paper in a very, very summarized form. You don't need to work with the entire set of 15 papers. You can, and on public domain, I have shown you 5 papers, but in your, universities, in your colleges, you might be having access to so many repositories from where IEEE Explorer and certain so and so on. You may be having, access to all those. You can download the papers, upload into my AI drive, and then you can work with AI PDF drive to explore each and every paper in a very summarized form, exactly looking for what you want. I hope that makes sense for everybody. Can you give me a check on the chat box? Like, are you understanding things? Are you understanding things? Can you just give me a check on the chat box? Yes? Okay, I'm just hoping. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience. Thank you so much. Okay, one more thing, one more app that we are going to use. The one more app that the one more GPT that we are going to use is Litmap. Okay, now that is very important part, the last part, and very important one. Okay, we are going to work with Litmaps. Okay, so in order to use Litmaps, what you can do is you can find more relevant papers with reference to one paper. If you want to have one paper, if you want to give one paper, you have, suppose, first paper, I want to see more related papers with it. So you can just do that with the help of Litmaps. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to go to Litmaps. Okay, let us go to Litmaps. So Litmaps is another website that you can go, your literature review assistant. So you can just go to Litmaps. Okay, again you will do it, and it will ask you to log in. Okay, you can directly log in it with the help of your Google ID or Gmail ID. You can simply log in it with your Orchid ID also, if you have any. So you can just sign it with Google or Orchid. Okay, so I am signing it with Google. I hope, Sonia ma'am, we can have last 5 minutes. We can work with 5 minutes. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now this is Pallavi Bhatt.
Okay. Yes, Pallavi ma'am. So I can
Yeah.
take next 5 minutes. Will that work?
Okay, sure, ma'am. Next speaker is here.
Okay. Just I'm winding up. I'm just winding up in next say 5 minutes. Max at
Okay,
max.
okay, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Okay, so now you can create a new lit map over here. You can just lit map will help you to connect the dots. It will help you to connect to the related papers. So you need to create a collection with the name. Say I'm creating with new collections demo. Okay, so I have created this. Delete one of your older lit maps. Okay, uh, fine. I can just delete that. Okay, so this is my new collections demo that I've created. Now I can add articles to it. I can just give that particular link. Okay, wherever my that particular you can say this particular thing, say realistic speech definition. So I can just copy the link and I can give here. I can search it by article or the link. Let's see if the link will work over here. Okay, I'll just give. Yes, it is working. So this particular link I have given, and it is giving me this particular, different work that has been done on real-time facial animation. Okay, so I can just check this particular paper that I can say, okay, I want to see this paper, I want to see this paper work in 2020 and in 2019. Okay, I can work with these papers. Now I can say done. Now these are the two papers that particularly I have explored. Now what I want to do is I want to see for the related articles with this particular see so realistic speech driven facial animation with GANs. I want to see further papers that are cited by these papers and maybe related to these papers. So I can just say automated citing and reference research with the help of explore related articles. You can just click over here and it has thousands of papers in it. The repository is very rich. You will get a lot of papers you can see over here. So this Wondrick 2016 is referring to these two. These two papers have referred to Wondrick 2016, and these are the papers that are further referring to Vogicus 2020 and 2019. So you can refer to these papers also. So it has given you a lot of stuff that you can further work on in your research. You got only two papers, but now you have access to 10 more papers which were related to this particular topic and which were referring to these papers in their work. So you will have access to further more research. Now you can see I had free access to 2019 and 2020 that I could search for, but now I can see this paper which has been written in 2024. So this is the newest research that has been done related to these topics, or 2023 paper. You can see such stuff. So this is how you can access to these papers. This you if you click here, you will get a reference to this. You can just go to this particular thing and you can access. You can get PDF also for this particular thing. You can access this paper and work with it. You can download and further do your research through again AI PDF drive. I hope this session is fruitful for you and you have learned how to use Consensus app. You have learned how to use My AI Drive and AI Drive Chat. And then you have, you are through with working a brief on lit maps also. So I hope this session was fruitful for everybody. Yes, can I get just a simple check from you? I hope you all enjoyed this session and had a good know-how on this. Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am, for
Thank you, ma'am.
that incredibly insightful and thought provoking session. We truly appreciate the time and effort you have taken to share your knowledge with us today. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker for today's session, Mr. Sukhwinder Singh Devra, sir. Dr. Sukhwinder Singh Devra is an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Applications, Maharshi Dayanand University. He has been in the software industry and academia since 2002 and worked at various academic and administrative levels. Presently, he is Deputy Director in the Career Counseling and Placement Cell of the university. He is also the Nodal Officer for the Rozgar Portal, a Government of Haryana initiative since last 4 years. His specialization includes computer vision, cryptography, security, data science, advanced Java technologies, and the Internet of Things. He has authored 29 research papers that have been published in Web of Science, SCI, Scopus, and UGC journals. He has also edited 2 books and illustrated 1 book available for on Amazon. He has delivered expert talks in different FDPs organized in the Haryana and Delhi regions. He is a member of the Board of Governors in some private institutions and also worked as an invited review in many journals of repute. So, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pallavi madam. First of all, very good afternoon to all of you, all the participants. Firstly, I will be thanking Dr. Ravish Sagar, the director of BCIIT, along with his team, uh, Dr. Sonia and Dr. Pallavi ma'am, who have given me this opportunity to interact with all the academic minds who are in a process of upgrading their knowledge and skills through this FDP and coming up with new ideas and newer footprints of what digital technology has brought in for all of us. So with those words, I will start with my session. Let me just share the presentation so that we can start working. Is the page visible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Now visible.
It's visible. So this is the day 6, session number 12. And the topic I will be covering is about the future trends in generative AI. Now, when we talk about the generative AI, I have also seen some of the YouTube lectures which have been put by BCIIT on the YouTube channel. And I've seen that many of the experts have given some overview about various technologies which are available through this generative AI. And the topic which is given to me, which is the future trends or what are the future outcomes of this generative AI, is a very interesting topic, but it will touch various aspects of human life. So starting with this, let us have just a small request is that for online ethics of learning, we will write down our questions on a piece of paper during the session. And it will be wonderful if all the participants will throw up their queries at the end of this presentation. Let us start with some of the remarks which are now visible on your screen. I will try to read the first and the second remark. Third one is very smaller one. The first remark is from Latanya Switney. She's a professor at Harvard Kennedy School. And she is saying that when we think about the future of the internet, I would guess that 90% of the content will no longer be generated by humans. It will be generated by bots. जैसा मैं अभी लेक्चर में देख ही रहा था लास्ट लेक्चर, the expert was telling you how to use the Gen AI tools for identifying the summarizations of some research paper or to identify some other papers which are related to this current paper which you have got somehow. So whatever text that was generated by that Gen AI tool was actually generated by a computing device. So that work will be again used by some of the researchers in their own research paper, and therefore, if even if you paraphrase it or rephrase it using some other tool, some other Gen AI tool, we can say that the content is not the content which is generated by humans, but it will be a content which is generated by some computing device. So here, Latanya has already this showcased her expressed her views that the future content available on the internet will be that which is generated by computing devices or robots rather than human beings. I will read the second remark, which is again from one of the uh, management associated with a US company, Expedia. It says that the future of AI will depend on our ability to develop and implement responsible and ethical practices to promote culture of transparency, accountability, as well as trust. So here in these lines, this single statement, we have very heavy words, huge words, in fact, related to our ability to develop, implement a responsible and ethical practice. So it is the industry which is now looking forward to all of us who are associated with this IT industry, that we should be having some responsible or ethical relationship with this technology which is evolving, and to promote cultural transparency, accountability, and trust. So again, this is a culture of transparency. We will try to have some discussion on how transparency is required and what is the transparency which is currently being shown by these Gen AI tools. And accountability, of course, something goes wrong, then who will be responsible uh, for that information which is being floated through these tools. And finally, of course, the trust, because if that transparency is not there, if there is no one responsible taking the responsibility or onus that yes, I have done this, whether it is good or bad, then we will in these kind of things. So these remarks, opening remarks, will definitely uh, give you an idea that what points I will be covering in the presentation. So let us move to the next slide. Before starting with this session, I will have a small survey on the tool, which is Mentimeter. I've opened it. Let me just share it to all the participants so that I can have some inputs about what you all people are at stage, and then we can have the further deliberations out of this. Just share it. Slide is visible to you now, Mentimeter page.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir,
sir.
it is visible.
Okay. So please join at mentimeter.com and use the code which is available on your screen. It is 6702756. So please open menti.com on any of your internet-enabled device and use this code 6702756 code to answer these two small queries of me so that I can have an idea where you are currently and what are the things which I discuss with you during this lecture will be helpful to you to understand the Gen AI and the future of this technology better. I'll wait for a minute or two so that all the participants can answer to these questions. Okay. We have got 1, 2, 3. 3 participants have filled in the details. Lower right corner of the screen, we can have the number of participants who have already taken this quiz, this question of the quiz. In fact, 5, 6. Okay, now we can see some of the buildings, some of the tall towers are lowering down, and some of the tall towers are rising and or sustaining at that particular level itself. 7 participants have entered their input for this question. Let us wait for a few people more, sir. Okay. This is the question where you can choose multiple options. It is a multiple choice question. Everything is written. Only you have to click certain checkboxes and submit this question. Okay. Yes, we have more now. It's 9. So you see, up to this particular number itself, the things are being settling down, and I can figure out, and you can also see on your screens that the number 1 AI tool, Gen AI tool, is the ChatGPT, which is being used by all of us, all the participants, even myself also use ChatGPT for some of the things. And then we have also gone through this Google Gemini, which is having 89% of the participants who use this particular tool. And the Coursera is at the 3rd place. Then Canva, which is a drawing which can be used for making posters, pamphlets, etc. Again, this is again being used. Coursera is a open learning platform, online learning platform, which is being used by 70% of our participants. So 10 participants have answered. So I would like to say that almost everyone, if 10 out of 10 know ChatGPT, I will believe that all other participants also know this ChatGPT. So all the participants know this ChatGPT, which is basically used for text generation. This is a generative AI tool which generates text, and we'll learn more about this. Let us try to have the second question, second and the last one, basically, before I start. Again, you see, is the same or not, I don't know. Please see this thing, and now you can answer on your will. You can answer up to 3 words. You have used these AI or Gen AI tools. So for example, if you have used ChatGPT, for what work, professional work or academic work or some particular task, you use that particular thing. If you are using, say, Coursera, you are, of course, using it for learning, online learning. I use Coursera problems to discuss those problems in my practicals so that my student can learn different aspects of the problems associated with the subject and so on. So you can mention your own purpose why you are using that particular AI or Gen AI tool. Let's wait for some time for the participants to answer. Okay. The participant has mentioned the names of the AI tools. We would like to have for what purpose. Have one more answer. It is to reduce the repetitive tasks. Very good. And to the point learning. Fine. So that we can have summarized information to be shared with this with the people with the learners. And one more point which he has written is assistance. So it is used as an assistant, digital assistant to have various tasks performed through these particular tools. Okay, so everything whatever word is visible on your screen, all the words are having only a single word. So we are looking after to some particular points which are more used by people, but still, okay. One more interesting uh, purpose of using the GenAI tool is question paper setting. Fine, I'll share you with one of the recent work which was done during my examinations today in the last week in MDU. That student said that the question paper does not contain any question which was told to be important from the just ChatGPT tool. So they have in the morning they have asked ChatGPT to figure out some questions which are important and can be asked in the PG examination, and none of the questions are in this question paper. So I was very annoyed with those people that why they are using ChatGPT for finding important questions. Important questions are obviously while discussion in the classrooms, generally teacher point out or impress more on those topics which he or she is convinced of that they are important to the subject. Uh, then flag checking, of course, yes, this is a good one. Then text generation, fine. Explanations, then other answers are general visit. Okay, this point is again important to us that we generally we just casually visit this AI tool just to say or check whether how it is working, what kind of things it is doing. So I generally place some query on the Gen AI tool and just try to read the answer in leisure time. Okay, it's not for my official work or some use like other people, but it's a general visit. Then okay, so creating presentations, etc. Fine. So their answer key framing, fine. This is fine. That we can have a question given to the this kind of a tool, and we can ask the tool to suggest some key framing of the answers so that what are the words which are more important in this particular answer so that I can get marks. And research, of course. So all these purposes are equally likely to all the people who are using these tools. Let us now move back to our presentation. Thank you for participating in this because you have given me some inputs so that I can use those in the in the discussion of the topic. Let me just again share back my presentation so that we can have this point. So as all of you have mentioned that you are generally visiting these tools to say to casually know how they are working. This is good to identify that how this works. Then to automate some repetitive tasks or use these tools as some digital assistants so that I don't know some formula which can be applied on a particular, say, set of file, and I would like to know it from ChatGPT that how can I impose that particular thing on my file, and then I use that particular answer to do that particular task. So the generative AI is nothing but to create new content. Now, new content here can be text, audio, code, images, videos, etc. So the examples which you have mentioned in the previous poll, it shows that all of you are using ChatGPT. That is an example of text generation. Then you can use for audio as well as images, and you can also use Gen AI tools for creating some kind of videos. So, but the process of generating this particular content should be automatically using the computer program. So this generation is done automatically. So in the last lecture, which was going before the start of this session number 12, I was looking forward to the tool which was discussed by the presenter that takes the research paper and it points out important points of the research paper. So now you can see that the research paper is being lexically analyzed by the computer program, and then it has somehow come up to some summarizations of the paper. So now whenever you ask some tool to summarize something or say whatever you have learned in the workshop in this FDP, say in the past 4 to 5 days, if somebody says to summarize all the content, you'll not be able to identify which are the points which must be emphasized more and which are the points which can be left out. But this kind of a program, the Gen AI tool, is capable of identifying what points can be left or what points can be included as a summarization of a given particular research paper. Although it seems very fine that my task has been, say, shortened and summarized automatically, but my friends, that it is important to know that whenever some tool is being used for summarizations, it is not necessary that the important points or key points are always included in the summarized format of the research paper. So if there are some researchers in this particular lecture and they are using these tools for summarizations, make sure that you use summarization tools, 2 to 3 summarization tools, and then club together all the summarizations together to form one new summarization, which you can assume that it might cover all the important aspects of the research paper. So it is okay to say that you have written down the summarization, but actually it is not 100% correct summarization. We'll learn how, because Gen AI is working on certain aspects. Let's see now the next slide. So this I can skip because it is used in all the aspects. You know it better. So Gen AI is using something which is called the neural networks. So it is using some neural networks. I will discuss this slide first. That it is a model of how our brain works. Actually, it started with the work which was done for facial recognition. For facial recognition, of course, what we need to do is we need to find out some features which are available on a particular face and then match those features of the master page with the file which is being compared. So when you identify certain features, that feature can be something, some dot on a particular part of the face, the color of our eyes, the shape of our eyebrows, the distance of the nose tip from the center of my eyes, the ratio of these lengths, etc. So all these are features, and these features are then compared with the template feature. So if there exists some file, some image of a particular object which is known to us, which can be said that it is a classified file, it has been classified, it has been tagged as something, then the computer program may use similar features, identify those features, whether the existence of those features are there in that particular new file, and then after comparison it can suggest us that whether this template file and the new file is matching or not. So it is using basically the something which is called neural network. Basically neural network is nothing but imitation of neurons in our brain. It is said that the number of neurons in our brain are equivalent to the number of stars in the universe. And of course, the number of stars again in the universe, there is no one available to count all those stars accurately. But again, there is a estimated value, and whatever is that estimated value, the number of neurons in our head are thought to be equal to or equivalent to that number of stars in the universe. Of course, why I'm saying that no one can count the stars, because the stars can only be counted by some uh, telescopes, special telescopes, which can identify the light which has started from the star and that has had reached the Earth, or we can say the observatory where from where we are observing those stars. And even for some particular star which is further away, and its light which has been emitted long ago has not even reached the Earth till today, we cannot identify that star through our observatories, high-tech observatories also. So it is important to note that there's no number which can be said to be having the number of stars in the universe, and the same is true for the neurons. But here, when we are generating this artificial neural networks, of course, there will be some input layer which will be identifying or taking inputs, and the hidden layers of the neurons, they are basically identifying some small feature of the face. When I talk in reference to the facial recognition, it is identifying some small feature of the face. And if say it says, suppose, okay, the eyes are blue, okay, fine. So it will move to the next neuron. And the next neuron is, suppose, calculating the distance between the pair of eyes, that is the center of the eyes. When the person is looking forward, then it will identify that distance. Again, if it is okay, then it will move to the next point and so on. So similarly, we'll reach some output layer. So there are these intermediate layers, and there are two layers which are input and output layers. And then we can say that what is the number of parameters this small dummy ANN or artificial neural network is using. For that, what I can do is I can multiply this 2, which is the number of input layers, into 4. Add this 4, because there are, in the second layer we have 4 green dots. So 2 blue dots multiplied by 4 green dots plus 4. So that is one number. Then 4 green dots followed by the third layer of 4 green dots. We will multiply 4 into 4 and add the number of green dots in the second. It will be 4 into 4 plus 4. And finally, we multiply 4 into 1 plus 1. That is the total number of parameters which can be thought of in this ANN. And you will calculate it out and you will get some small number. So that is the number of parameters. When we talk about this generative AIs, then it's important to note that there will be millions and billions of such parameters. So we can have an assumption that, okay, we can assume that how many number of neurons are there and how complex this particular algorithm can be, which is using ANN for generating some new thing out of the given input. Now, these generative AI tools use something which is called the generative adversarial networks, which are using some model of creating some new data from the given data. Now, for generating some new data from the given data, we have a generator, which is the work of which is to generate something new, some output that can be derived from the input data samples. Then there is something which is called the discriminator, which is the job of this discriminator is to check whether the given data, generated data, is real or fake, and it will match outputs whether it is artificially created or not, it looks artificial or not. And finally, there is some other component of this GN, which is a competition, which will again ask the generator and the discriminator to compete against each other and improve the accuracy. So in the process of this particular kind of a competition between the generator and the discriminator, the accuracy or the output is reached to a certain level, which might might be marked as something which is almost created, created the data. So it is something which is almost real or a plausible solution. It is not the accurate solution. It will be always a plausible solution, right? Which appears to be correct. It is not correct, but it appears to be correct. So that is why when I say that when you are using these kind of tools for, say, summarization of some research papers, or you are using this tool for, say, suppose identifying important topics of a particular course or important questions which must be set as a question paper during the question paper setting and so on, then results which are being shown by these kind of tools are the plausible solutions. These are not accurate always. Okay, so this is to be checked again and again by human beings, of course, by intervention, that whatever data which is being generated by these kind of tools are correct or not. Right. The second thing which is it uses is the diffusion model, and it's again very interesting and simple concept, but the concept becomes different when it is used in volumes. So if you increase the volume of this particular kind of a task, then it becomes interesting, and it is not handled by small machines. It is handled by large uh, RAID machines, RAID servers. So it is diffusion model that are type of generative AI intelligence that create images, audio, or text by adding noise to the data and gradually removing it. Now, if I say that for the given input data, the program will add some noise in the data, and then it will try to remove noise gradually from it to create the structured output. The output will appear structured. Please note it down. It is a plausible solution. It is not the correct solution. So when I say that it works by adding noise to the data, that means that whatever input data we have, what I can do is my program will segregate the input data into two different parts. One part, the entire data will remain as it is. And in the second part of the data, it will remove certain information from the data. Suppose it is a paragraph, then in one of the paragraph, the same content will be there. And in the second paragraph, I will remove one or two words in each line so that that can be generated by the model, whatever model we are using. So we are taking the example of ChatGPT, which is a large language model, which is capable of generating text. So in that sense, there are some files which are kept as it is. In some of the files, some of the data is being, say, removed. And now the machine is asked to fill in those blanks automatically by reading the previous input files and identify most plausible word that can be fitted into the fill in the blanks. Now, after filling the blanks, again, the discriminator will check that the generator, whatever generator has identified, whether it is correct with respect to what input was actually with us. If it is not correct, again, that will compete for more accuracy, and this process will be repeated many number of times, and then only it will reach to a solution which is much possible correct answer. But again, it is not always the correct answer one. Right? So let us move to the next point. It uses something which is called transformers, which are basically some APIs which have been pre-trained. Now, when we say pre-trained, then it is important to note that when you are using some pre-trained models for your research work, so whatever inputs were given to that pre-trained model, the outcomes which you will receive on your input data, that will be influenced or biased with respect to whatever training those APIs have gone through during their generation when it was developed by some particular organization which is offering you that particular transformer. So transformer APIs, I have seen one of the lectures which was uploaded on YouTube that one of the presenter was using GitHub website for identifying some of the this NLP related aspects which were discussed. And during that, he downloaded and used one of the libraries, which is model basically for generation of the new text. And it was also told that somehow the Google Translator, that is yet importantly, and over the years have learned how to translate one language sentences into some other language sentences, and how this NLP related tool has learned to translate from one language to another language, text from one language to another language very easily. This looks easy only because you are using the transformer APIs. Those transformer APIs have been pre-trained on certain machines which are very, very fast, and they can process the information very swiftly. And now they have learned how to translate one language sentences into some other language sentences. So the scene which generally we people will observe that, okay, this particular thing is working very fine, and it is very soft to work on. You are using Google Colab, you are using Gemini, or you are using ChatGPT. It is very easy to key in your question and you get your answers fine. So this is only possible because it has been pre-trained over certain input data. And what is the volume of that data? That data is all the data over the internet. If we talk only about the ChatGPT, so if we are talking about ChatGPT, entire web www has been downloaded and put into this particular tool, and the machine has learned all that stuff up to 2024. So whatever information we have got on the internet, the machine has learned all that thing. Now, can any one of you in the chat box please tell whether it is possible that I am doing some research work and I am referring to something which is given on Wikipedia? On chat box, you can answer and read the answers. If I use Wikipedia information on a research paper and I refer that Wikipedia information, whether I can do it or not, yes or no? If yes, why? And if no, then why? Shobha Chawla says yes, and Krupa Trivedi also says yes. Now, you know that on Wikipedia, who plays the information? We usually prefer white papers over Wikipedia as info on Wikipedia source and can be updated by anyone. Of course, Anirudh Chaturvedi, you are very right that Wikipedia is an open source and anyone can update anything. And generally that information is not even verified by people. Now, if there is something which is not even verified by people, you are not supposed to use the information which is available on Wikipedia like platforms to enhance your knowledge on a particular point. So it is a general open source platform where you can key in your own ideas about a particular topic, and people are free to key in their ideas on that particular page. And therefore, now you can see that how can these Gen AI tools can be affected through the input which they have received. Okay, so if I am giving the input from entire www, I'm only Wikipedia example to showcase because you all know what is Wikipedia. But in fact, if I am having a website and I am placing some information on that, I am responsible for the particular information, but the correctness of that information might not be there. Okay, so all the stuff which is available on the internet, that is not correct. But still, if some particular tool has been trained on that particular set of files, then you can imagine that how and up to what extent there can be the accuracy and consistency of these tools. Okay, so going back to our slide. So these are transformers which are pre-trained models and can reduce your compute costs, carbon footprints, and save you time and resources required to train the model from scratch. Okay, so it is for us. People will say, okay, uh, we are not imparting much time to develop a new model using a particular transformer or a library, and we are just given my input and we have got certain outputs, and now I can showcase it as my own research. No, my friends, it is not my research, because that model which has been used by the researcher from that internet available website like GitHubs, they are pre-trained or a particular kind of input, and your input is only a test input for that model, and whatever outcomes you have, that are only the test outputs for that particular model. So when you change the model, even if it is working on the same algorithms, it will differ, the results will differ, and therefore the research, where there is a key point that whatever you have done, that should be reproducible. So if there is a research, authentic research, so when you use the same thing again, it should be reproducible. It is not so that something which is done at, say, Rohtak, that will not be, that is not possible to be performed at Delhi. So the change of location, even if only if the uh, location is something important, geographical location of the conduction of the experiment is important to us. So in computer science, there is no relation of that geographical information, if unless and until we are working on some social network analysis, which might have some relevance with the location. So the research which is being produced using these kind of tools are not so correct in my view. Now, the next slide, which I would like to discuss, is about the text generating tools, which are transformers on the NLP, which we have learned. There can be some transformers which are known as the visual transformers, which can generate images. Then similarly, we can have some transformers which can generate videos. Now, so that means that we can generate different kind of stuff using these kind of pre-trained models, and these are available online, and we can use to create something new, which we believe that it is a new one. Right? So whenever we are saying we are collecting the entire corpus of text input from the World Wide Web, that is Wikipedia, books, Stack Overflow, website, Quora, etc. So whatever that input is there, the large language model like ChatGPT is using this input to have an idea what content is there on the World Wide Web. And by the virtue of the steps which are being followed, as we have told, there is a generator, then there is a comparator, and that comparator, the task of the comparator and the generator is that to produce some plausible outcome for a given particular problem. So therefore, we can say that whatever is being generated, it is influenced with the inputs we have put in that particular GPT model for training. So if we have used some of the things, some of the inputs which are not correct, some of the things, suppose we have now here, there is a term social media. So you have input from social media also, and you all know that whenever some particular person is tweeting something on the social media platform, there is a group of people who praise that particular point of view, and there is again a chunk of second section of the society which might troll people on the social media platforms. So when you are using that text for training of the models, then the model is also not only learning good things from the input data, but it also is learning biasness. It is also learning racial discrimination. It is also learning how to abuse people. It is also learning negative points also. Fine. So there are positive things also and the negative things also. And therefore, this kind of tool also learns how to complete the missing words in the sequence of sentence. To complete it like that, people will know that, okay, it is the most plausible answer which we can have. And this process is repeated over the whole corpus again and again till one reaches a particular satisfactory output. Please note the word satisfactory output. It is said satisfactory output. It is not saying that it is the correct output. So whenever the training company believes that my model is okay for release, they generally go for the release. Okay. If it is not true, then we will have one GPT model. It is not necessary for OpenAI to come up with GPT 1, 2, 3, and then followed by Chat GPT and further uh, specialized versions of this Chat GPT. Right? I hope I want to discuss. Now, since we have seen that slide for the number of parameters, and I've told you that the number of parameters for the ChatGPT is in billions. So we can assume that here this is the model which was started by Elmo and it has reached to Google Palm. So it is here Google Palm having 5403 number of billions parameters in that particular Gen AI model. So you can assume that what is the number of or the complexity of these programs, and therefore you cannot even train a small model on a simple machine. So if I try to use this kind of model for doing actual research, so I cannot do actual research using these models. So whatever I will be producing, it is somewhere there in the input file, because it is only being matched by the generator and the comparator. And if it has reached somehow that, okay, this particular thing has been repeated many times, and therefore it is most plausible solution. Uh, let me just give you an example. One of the point which can be of use for researchers. There is something which is called outliers in data points. Do anyone know what is the outlier? You can ask. You can answer in the chat box. I'm looking at the chat box now. Can anyone tell me what is an outlier? Outlier in a data. Whenever you are doing some kind of a research, we generally find something which is called outlier in the data. And therefore, what we do is generally we remove that outlier. It's generally asked to remove the outlier from the data set so that it is not influencing the other data points, which will give me the, say, if I'm trying to analyze the trend in the data, or I would like to have certain patterns to be identified in the data and so on. So it's a data point. Yes, outlier is again a data point, but it is on the extreme points, data which is not inside the specific range. Yes. So there is a range, IQR, interquartile range is there. So 3 times the IQR, if the data point is not in between this 3 times the IQR from the median point, it is assumed that it is an outlier, and that is generally removed from the inputs of the research work. But now it is important to note that perhaps if there is an outlier, there might be something important, something which is not following the trend which is being followed by all, and it is a point which needs some kind of an investigation. Okay, so rather than simply removing the outlier, it might be true that if you are a researcher, you you can find out that what is the cause of this outlier, and might be there's something different going on in the data set, something different going in the observations, which is generating this outlier. So you will be identifying some exceptional behavior in the system which is generating that particular outlier. And then what you can do is, in your research work, you can try to control that exceptional behavior. You can try to investigate why that particular behavior is being shown by the system, and so on. So that is again a point. So if I say that outlier is there, it's not always true that we should simply remove those outliers from the investigation. In fact, I believe that, or I personally also believe that the outliers are points which must be identified and discussed at rigorous level, so that to know whether the outlier is there due to some particular fact which needs some attention from the researcher. Okay, now why I am showing this slide to you is that there are in billions of the parameters. So these are billions of parameters in our GenAI tools. Now, when I say that billions of parameters are there, then I have one quote for you, one information for you, that when you fire a simple query on ChatGPT platform, then the amount of CO2 it produces is huge, humongous. It is equivalent to car moves from Earth to Moon. The amount of CO2 which is produced by a car, suppose it is traveling from on a road which is from Earth to the Moon, then to travel that particular distance, the emission which is generated by that car, that is equivalent to one query which is shot at a GenAI tool. So the servers which are using this kind of stuff, they are generating enormous amount of CO2. And to maintain the temperature level of these servers, again, you use, it is a fact that they use around 500 ml of water to cool down that server again to a moderate level. And that means that one query will remove or consume around 500 ml of water, and therefore the number of queries which are being fired on ChatGPT per day multiply by 500 ml of water. So that much amount of water is being wasted by the IT industry for maintaining this Gen AI tools, these kind of Gen AI tools onto the network. And on ChatGPT, and there are many number of Gen AI tools, and therefore, as a IT expert or as a academician, we should be very much refrainful of these technologies. It is only to be used when it is required. Next one, which I would like to state, is about the training of this kind of model. Is there some input is there, and the neural network model that is trained, and now it is capable of generating some kind of an output. And then the second phase is there, that we will try to fine tune our model on a particular aspect. So when you are fine tuning your model, of course, then Gemini is claiming that, okay, I can be used for research, paper summarization, and other things. So research related tasks. So that means that ChatGPT model related similar model has been fine tuned to work with the research papers. Similarly, there can be some specialized GPT models which can be used for storytelling. There can be some GPT models which are fine-tuned for doing some kind of presentations, making presentations, or some, say, learnings, etc. So all these stuff can be done only by fine-tuning the model. Now, on this point, fine-tuning a model, I would like to share you an interesting information that when you are using the World Wide Web, it is not always necessary that you are using that service which is available on the World Wide Web. Now, if you remember, there are certain scenarios where some server uh, shows you some captcha, some text captcha, and you have to answer what is written in the text captcha, and then only the login to that particular platform is uh, available to us. Can anyone tell me why that captcha is used by the servers? Or you can answer on the chat box. Why the servers sometimes use captcha? Nowadays we have image captchas also to identify which of the sections of the image contain cars, which of the sections contain this zebra crossings, which of the sections of the image contains human beings, traffic lights, and so on. Okay, there are a few answers now in the chat box. It's again Dr. Thiranganana. He said between humans and robots. Yes, of course. And Anuruddha Chaturvedi is saying to prevent the Autobots to use and find. These are the answers which are told to us. Say that we are using captcha or reCAPTCHA or image captchas. It is told to the user that it is for checking whether a human being is working on the server or available service or not. But uh, it is actual fact is that some university in America was getting all the books digitalized by some IT industry. And during use of the pattern recognition algorithms, it was observed that the pattern recognition algorithms, which is, say, looking at the image of the paper or the page of the book and identifying what alphabet is there and this text it is trying to identify, it sometimes it is not able to accurately identify the text written on the page. And those sections, for those particular sections, if we will employ some human being to work for the IT industry to correct those inputs, it will require huge amount of money because it's not one book, it is multiple books which were available on with the libraries of those American universities. So that task was then given to us as users because we were using the services for free and we were assuming that it is for us. It is for enhancing my security, my accounts security, and avoid the DOS attacks or denial of services attacks on those kind of servers. Again, that is for my benefit. The industry has given me the problem along with my username as password to input captcha, and only then I will be allowed the login. And the validation that whatever captcha you are writing as the output, sorry, as the input which you are looking at in the image, that is verified uh, by again statistically by the number of inputs which have been received by different users. So if there is a word, say I and Z written in a particular captcha, and people are writing as I and 2, some of the people are writing as I and Z, and therefore there will be more number of people, more plausible solution again in this case also, that if there are more number of people writing it as IZ, then it will be assumed that IZ is the correct uh, recognition pattern which is there in the image rather than the other way around. If that you can verify also, if you see somewhere image captchas and you are suppose there are sections of the image and it contains different images, and you are asked to identify which sections contain car, you tick those parts, and say suppose you accidentally tick some other section also, then what is done? it is not the server which will refrain you to log in, but it will give you another problem. Why? Because it is not being verified by other people that, okay, this section also contains a car, and you have deliberately ticked it as a car. It does not contain a car. And that means that the computer program is not able to verify that the answers given by more number of people is not matching with your answer, and therefore you should be given some other problem to verify again. So again, so this is called captcha, reCAPTCHA, as well as image captchas. Again, these are done for the industry. That is, all of us were working for IT industry for no payments, and we were assuming that we are being provided higher security and avoiding our DOS attacks. Right? So this is the industry which is giving us some of the things, but it is framing entire information. So there is little transparency as compared to what is known to the outer world and what is known to the industry. I have one more example. If you would have, if you would be finding it interesting to know that it was in around 1740s that the electricity transfer was thought to be possible using the metal cables. So the industry invested into that particular idea, and they generated the cables, industry for generating cables. Of course, the this one open cables that was not that was not covered with some plastic material which is insulated, and there were some insulated cables also. So the industry was established for uh, generating cables to transfer the electricity to the industry, and that was a revolution in the industry also. But at the same time, in around a period of 40 to 50 years, although it was not developed, अभी भी हमने देखा ना कि हमें मुझे लगता है कि in the first this Modi government, it was said that, okay, the last village has got electrified now. So so that is the state of electrification of villages in India also. Still, we are living in 2024 approximately. So we can say that up to now, there can be certain places in the world where electricity has not reached. But and it is known that the electrification as well as the wires and the corresponding industry was set up in around 1740s. But there was another researcher, Nikola Tesla, who has developed the idea and the practical of transferring this electrical energy without wires. But industry has never given him the due respect and the money use that particular technology for transferring of the electricity from one point to another, the point of generation to the point of consumption. So you can assume, you can see how industry can impact our lives. If that particular industry in 18 or 1870 or 1840, it was around 19th century, that is for sure. So if the industry would have given the due points or credits to him and use that particular technology for transfer of electricity, then many industries which were set up for generation of wire and other things and all other jobs which were created for transferring of the sorry, the installation of wire cables, poles in our cities and spaces to transfer the electricity would have not been done. Okay, so it is the industry which is controlling us rather than what we people think that we are being offered some kind of a service by the industry. Okay, so let's go back to our things that we are saying that now the model is being fine-tuned, and who is that person who is fine-tuning the model? Yes, you can open your mic and answer. Who is the one who is fine-tuning the models which were generated by the IT industry in the name of Gen AI tools? Now you can reach the answer very easily. You can write down in the chat box if somebody is not feeling good to open the mic and answer. As we were working for pattern recognition of the images, we were working for classification of images in the image captchas accidentally or unknowingly. Similarly, we are working for fine tuning. We are working Gen AI models for which they would require human interventions and pay those employees who will try to train or fine train their models. So data engineers and maybe the ML engineers all are using those tools, and we are trying to fine tune those tools. Why? Because whenever I'm shooting some query and I got some particular plausible answer, if I go with that plausible answer, if I copy that answer, that particular platform will will conclude that that particular answer was okay to the user. That means it is correct to some extent for the use. So that is why we are saying we are working for the industry for fine tuning these kind of models. Of course, this is a different kind of version which I'm putting forward to you people today, and it is different from what uh, people believe actually, because we are being offered services for free. We are not being offered services for free. We are being used because humans will be only the one who can verify which of the answers are plausible answers are correct or which are not correct, which is usable with to me. They will be correct, which are non-usable to me, that will be identified or assumed as incorrect answers. Let me integrate some other technologies also with this particular thing. The invent of quantum computing will again accelerate the training of these massive models, because the rate of transfer in quantum computing is much higher than the rate of transfer in simple digital computing devices, because it is working at the speed of light, and it generally do not require any kind of encryption and decryption, because it will not be that the information which is used on that particular thing is not changeable easily, right? And then there is a multimodal capability also which is being developed by industry, because now the industry has successfully identified that they have done with some large language model, Gen AI model, which can generate text. Now they are verifying through us that whatever images are being generated by the image transformers, they also appear to be correct by the users. And in the same way, then when you are using the images, you can convert those images into videos also, and you have the concept of these deep fake, where you are able to generate audio, you are able to generate video of a particular thing, and using those persons. Suppose my voice is being thrown as input uh, to the audio generator, and then after having ample input of my sound, my voice samples, it will be able to generate that particular audio, which will be most plausible sounding sound of Sukhwinder. So that is again there, and now since these things are there, now the industry is amalgamating these different fine-tuned models together. So images will be amalgamated with the voice, and of course there will be a video in which the person is not only simply moving his face here and there through generation of the video from one or more pictures input. Now he will lips show some kind of expressions also, and there will be a voiceover on that particular video also. So there is a concept of now amalgamating all these technologies together after fine tuning it separately. Now the industry will come up with this, and we will have now the content which is being generated by robots or the programs. So that is why the future of this Gen AI is something in which you will be generating. Actually, human beings will not be generating any kind of information now further, and these machines will be generating texts. These machines will be generating some images and creative tasks, and these machines will be generating videos and say entertainment, then something which is for learning and so on. And there will be a scenario after generation and regeneration of these kind of stuff by these models, that almost everything which will be available on the internet will be something which is generated by machines rather than human beings. And then there will come up a time where you will say that can you find something for me which is not generated by robots? Presently, we are eager to learn that what is being generated by a Gen AI tool for a summarization of paper. Then after 5 years down the time, we will be exploring some research paper which has not been generated. The text of that particular paper has not been generated by these kind of AI tools. So that time is not far away. Of course, I believe that that particular thing will be there, and people are working in this particular industry also. They are also showcasing their concern over this, and that is true to come. But now there are some more points which I would like to tap upon on these kind of Gen AI tools for their future. So first thing is that suppose if you are using the www to uh, to input the text in suppose the ChatGPT alone, then whatever text which is being generated by ChatGPT, who is the owner of that text? Can you answer this in the chat box? If ChatGPT has learned all the content from the www, all the research papers, all the websites, all the forums where there are questions as well as answers, on the social media platforms where people express their views, etc. All the newspaper websites, all that stuff is there, and the ChatGPT has learned that one, and now it is generating something new, something which is plausible new information for us. Who will be the that information? It is quite similar to the fact that I am writing a research paper using inputs from other research papers and not mentioning the references to those papers which we have used. Because ChatGPT is not telling you that which information it is using and on the basis of what information, what input information it is generating this so-called new output. It is not a new output. Mind it that through the training itself, it is known to us that that will be not a new answer. So the real owner of the content, yes, of course, Sab, you have mentioned it very well and correctly that the real owner of the content will be the owner who has written that original content. But we are not giving due regards to that particular person by mentioning the name. Therefore, there will be a time that there will be many number of lawsuits in the future onto these models, as well as the users of those models who are generating their research, their question paper, their short summarizations of the textbooks, and so on. Whatever generation we are doing, there might be many number of lawsuits of copyright infringement and the ownership of IPR, etc. on these kind of things. Fine. So that is there. Now, the second thing is that if you are using these kind of models to generate something, so it can be for your own learning. You cannot use it as the owner of that same information. So another thing which I would like to tap upon is the ethical implications of using these Gen AI tools. If I am using some generative AI tools, I must have some ethical uh, uh, ethicality of showcasing that whatever I've done, it's through this particular thing. So can you assume that some research paper or has a quote written in the references that all the stuff generated in, or sorry, all the stuff mentioned in the research paper has been generated through these Gen AI tools, and that stuff has been then paraphrased and rephrased using this particular Dallas tool. And finally, I've done some changes in the paper, and finally, this particular paper is my research paper. So whether it will be uh, given, uh, I will be given that particular credit of generating that paper or not. Even if I get particular that credit, I will be getting only the credit of generating that particular stuff through rather than generating my own ideas. So that will impact the amount of research we will be doing in the coming few years. If all the researchers will be aligned with these kind of tools to uh, identify and write down their ideas, so actually they are not writing their own ideas. They can use that particular thing for their own learning. But whenever we are writing something, we should try to write our own stuff. And another interesting thing is that these similar tools are again verifying some text as not written by robots, that is human generated text. So a similar machine uh, is taking your input text, and it is identifying or trying to identify that how much of the stuff is uh, appearing to be written by human beings, and how much of the stuff of that particular paper is appeared to be written by the computing devices. So again, the thing is that even if some particular platform gives me this particular output that say, okay, only 7% of the content is likely to be computer generated, rest is human generated. It appears to be human generated. It's again not the correct answer. It is a plausible answer. And again, because it is again verifying something generated through human beings, the whatever stuff was taken up as the pre-trained model, it is only comparing with that, and it is trying to infer that okay, this particular percentage of the stuff is original, appears to be originally written by human beings. And again, that might not be true. So that's again one of the things. And finally, one more topic which I would like to point out is that all these Gen AI tools are biased in nature. These are biased not by the virtue of the developer's intention uh, to generate something which is biased, some biased application, but it is by the virtue of the input stuff. It is biased. Since most of the Gen AI tools which are generating text, I'm talking of text, most of the text is in English language, and rest of the languages, you all know that there is a very few available references in the text format for different languages. Therefore, these kind of models are biased towards the Western countries, which have generated the www in meaningful manner, and whatever stuff was shared by those people, because the volume of stuff which is being produced by the Western countries is more than what is being developed in the developing and underdeveloped nations. Therefore, the entire models these models are biased towards the Western way of thinking, Western way of writing, the writing style of the text, Western way of culture, and so on. So all these things are there on the Western side. So if you are using something, some AI tool, some Gen AI tool to infer something related to India, something related to our culture, it will not be more correct, more plausibly correct solution to the given queries, which you will fire to these kind of Gen AI tools, which must be influenced by uh, the input data which they have received. So that was there. Uh, any other should I like to have is mm, something more to uh, share with you people. Okay, I've done with the copyright, we've done with the IPR. It's fine. Fine. So that's all with from my side. If you have any questions, you can now ask those questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that incredibly insightful and thought-provoking session. We truly appreciate the time and effort you have taken to share your knowledge with us today. Now, as we move forward, I would like to open the floor for questions. You can either raise your hand or to ask your question, or if you prefer, please post your queries in the chat box and we will address them. Any questions?
Thank you so much, sir. This is Sonia this side.
Thank you. I am that all people are there, and I have talked my mind and heart with all the participants, because this is some point, some of the things which I have learned over the years. I have worked in the industry also, how we people showcase something different to the outward world, and which is actually not there in the industry. So I've tried to map all those things together so that uh, we can move towards a situation where we can say we are using responsible Gen AI tools. So we will be moving to something which is called responsible AI rather than generative AI or some other kind of AI. It is the time something which is responsible, because people will be using this technology ethically. People should be using this technology fairly, should be using this technology by knowing this kind of fact that it might be biased to certain extent, and we must recheck, check and recheck and verify the content which is being generated by these kind of tools. I'm not telling you to not use these tools, but I am telling you to please use these tools very wisely. If you are if you are a well-wisher of the earth, of the environment, again you use Google rather than using ChatGPT for simple problem solving or simple problem identifications which you are, say, searching over the web, because Google will give me 10 possible answers, but in ChatGPT, we will get one plausible, accurate appearing answer, and that might not also be true. And Google will be giving me n number of opportunities to visit different index pages which has searched out, and it is up to human beings to identify which content is useful to them, which is not useful to them. So therefore, the future will again be something on AI plus humans rather than AI replacing humans. We will be moving to a scenario where AI will be required to work along with human beings, so that we will be creating positive environment, good society, which will be using the technology in a better way. Right? That's my final submission from this lecture. Thank you very much for being with me and hearing to my ideas and my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable information. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker for today's session. That is our last session in this FDP, Mr. Shakti Singh Tanwar, who is a software architect, author, and renowned trainer and multi-trainer. He is the founder of two organizations, TechPro Comsoft Private Limited, that specializes in software development, and SK Job Seeders Private Limited, that specializes in recruitment, L&D consulting and services. Apart from that, he has involved in setting up US based organization Baker Hills based in India. He has worked with 200 plus organizations and trained more than 7,000 plus professionals and students in various technology stacks, and have been associated with Microsoft in 2018 to impart artificial intelligence and machine learning education on Microsoft tools in UAE region. He has authored couple of books on the .NET framework which are available on amazon.com. We are extremely fortunate to have Mr. Tanwar sir with us today, and I am certain his session will provide us with valuable insights into the complexities and opportunities that generative AI brings to both research and industry. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Tanwar sir. So over to you, sir.
Thanks, Pallavi ma'am. I've been following up all the sessions and those were really enlightening. There has been a lot of information that was exchanged so far, and almost everything has been covered. So, being the last one, it's quite difficult for me to get my thoughts and explain things. But I have tried to explain few things. So, is my screen visible? The PowerPoint, is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, so my topic is regarding ethical issues and consideration in generative AI. And before me, a lot of people have already explained what is generative AI, what is artificial intelligence, and some ethical issues related to bias and other stuff. I'll try to add more to that as we move forward. So. I like to go from the basics. So even though most of you are already aware about AI, generative AI, I would like to get started from there only. So AI is a term which was coined by Alan Turing in 1950, and it's a set of technologies that enable computers to perform tasks that are typically done by human in reasoning and decision making. It's not a new term. We have been sitting on, everybody knows that in industry we are sitting on piles of data. We have trillions of data. Every organization is capturing that data, but they were not putting that to meaningful use, and that's where AI, big data, those sort of technologies came into picture. With big data, we were able to analyze those huge data set that contains trillions TBs of data, maybe analyze that, get meaningful information out of it. And then machine learning come into picture, where we use machine learning algorithm to find out some matches and identify some relatable information from it. So broadly, AI is classified into three categories, which is machine learning, deep learning, and cognitive services. When we talk about machine learning, it's um, the programming languages that we come across. We are aware that we are using Python, our programming language, to create and machine learning models. First of all, we need to create a machine learning model using a programming language, and then it need to be trained with data. Once it is trained, then it can create predictions for you. So talking in depth, it's all about giving you a probability score, and then you have to map that probability score into some labels. For example, it can be very much used in cancer detection, where Based on the parameters, it will generate a score and will identify whether the person have a cancer or has the possibility of getting cancer in future by analyzing the person data and matching it with the millions of records that it has to come up to some conclusion. Machine learning models usually we need to train over the time. So as time goes on, we get more data that we need to train our machine learning model. Again, this is manual effort, but there is another branch of machine learning which is called deep learning, where the model retrains itself as we move along. As it gets more data, it learns from it. It's more part of we call as reinforcement learning. Then we have cognitive services, which is having pre-trained models which are deployed as services and exposed to us. We just call the service and get the relevant outputs. So these cognitive services can give us models that need to be trained, or they can be pre-trained as well. As we know that in GPT, which is generic pre-trained transformer based on the transformer model of architecture. And in this model, we have already trained it on the data, and they have provided a lot of organizations are working on GPT models, and they have provided us with free tools that we can utilize. Actually, we are training those as we move along. So we already discussed this, and talking more about machine learning algorithm, as we know that these are algorithms, so they can be classified into basically three categories, which is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So there are a lot of algorithms that we use in supervised learning, which are linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, SPA. Neural network is one of them, as you might have seen in the previous lectures as well. Then we have unsupervised learning, where we don't have data set which is labeled. When we have labeled data set, we go for supervised learning, and when we don't have a labeled data set, we go for unsupervised learning, which goes more deep, which trains itself. For example, clustering, association, PCA, autoencoders, and stuff. And then we have reinforced learning as well. Now, coming to generative AI, a lot of people before me have also explained it, and it's the same definition. It's an artificial intelligence where it's generative in nature because the models have been trained on a lot of data using the LLM models. Um, and now they are able to generate new contents, ideas, images, pictures, even videos, stories, music, whatever you want. So they are widely used nowadays in social media to generate influencers, to generate content and other stuff. Some examples are, and as a programmer, as a solution architect, I use a lot of ChatGPT to generate code. Uh, so in old session, we have already talked about prompt engineering as well. That is how you can get more information about from the generative models. So we'll discuss about it. I'll give you some hands-on session, like just try to give you an example when we talk about ethical issues, like how we can see biasness and other stuff. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Here the focus is on pre-trained. Generative is a set of technology that is capable of producing content such as text and imagery. And it's pre-trained means these are saved networks that have already been, when I say network, is a neural networks that have already been taught using a large data set, which we call as LLM, to resolve a problem or accomplish a specific task. And it's a transformer, which is a deep learning architecture that transforms an input to an output. So this is what GPT stands for. And we have 4 versions of GPT that have been released so far: GPT 1, 2, 3, 4. And it started, we started with GPT 1, which was trained on an the important thing when we talk about GPT is how many parameters they are using and how much data they have been used to train. So the first version, which was GPT, used 117 million parameters, and it performs natural language processing tasks with very little fine tuning. And it served as a framework for the Google search that you see today, Google Translate, autocomplete, and other LLM models, including the Gemini and ChatGPT of today. Later on, ChatGPT 2 was launched by OpenAI, is the organization that has been working on introducing those models. So they have made GPT-2 bigger by using 1.5 billion parameters, which was almost 10 times compared to GPT-1, and almost 10 times the data compared to the predecessor, which was GPT-1. And it uses 48 layer decoder of the transformer architecture. With this GPT-2, we were able to predict and generate the next sequence of text to follow a given sentence. So it's more like filling in the blanks where you start a sentence and say what more can you generate, and it was able to do that successfully. Then GPT-3 and 4 came into picture. GPT-4 is the most recent version, which was trained on a very large LLM, means it can parse image inputs as well as text. Before GPT-4, we were not able to work with images in the while working with the generators. So GPT-4, the iteration, this is the most advanced GPT model, and many people call it as GPT-40 as well, but it's actually GPT-4o, and which is GPT-4o mini, GPT-4o, and GPT-4. These are four iterations of the GPT-4 models. AI has been used a lot. Everybody is using AI. Why should we learn AI? That's a big concern. Many people, there are like two sets of people. You will find out. One will say AI is bad, AI is evil, and we have seen a lot of movies as well where AI has been predicted bad. It will take over everything, which is quite right to an extent. Definitely, if it's not used wisely, we can have a lot of repercussions, which cannot be which can be bad for the human civilization as well as definitely it's going to hit jobs as we move forward. But there are advantages as well. And when we talk about GPT-4, in GPT-4, we are basically not creating new AI. The AI models are already created, and we are just utilizing them to make our task easier. So adapting GPT is going to help the professionals who are working in software in the industries like software, healthcare, and other stuff. It's definitely going to help them, and early adoption is the key to success. Definitely, we are not creating something from the scratch. So for the people who want to work on advanced AI, who wants to go into the fields of artificial intelligence and machine learning, they should start from learning basic programming, Python, and other stuff, learning about the algorithms that come along with it, and those sort of things. GPT-4 is not going to give you job, but rather it's going to help you in saving jobs and doing your jobs in a much better way. So there are a lot of ethical issues when we talk about generative AI, as we know that it's able to generate contents. And when we are generating contents, the biasness and fairness definitely comes into picture. So let me show you an example. So I have some AI. I will generate some images and see what kind of images it generates. So uh, this is one tool that I'm using. It's called dpi.org, and I have given an input to it and say generate image of a nurse. I'll give it some time. So the first image that it has given me is a nurse, which is also a female, definitely, as we can look. And same instruction I can give to this as well. So this has generated only one image, which is of a female, whereas we know that nurse can be male as well. So this is an example of biasness where it has taken a gender bias. While generating the image, when I asked it for nurse, I didn't provide any gender, and the image that it has given me As you can see here as well, this tool canva.com this provided me 4 images. Again, as for others, these are 4 female images. So that is an example of clear-cut example of gender bias where the AI tool has generated some contents which are gender specific. So it should have given me images of male nurse as well, but that is what biasness is. And where does this biasness come from? This is not a problem with the tool. It's basically the data set on which the tool has been trained on. So for nurse, the images that has been provided to train this model were mostly from the female, and which is why it is generating new images based on those contents. That's an example of biasness and fairness when we are talking about the tools. Biasness can be again divided into multiple types. We have already seen one example of gender bias, but it can be associative bias, it can be anchoring bias, and then we have a human bias, which is again called a confirmation bias. And when we are a programmer and we are developing for some logical solution, as you know that GPT-4 can solve math problems, it can write code for you as well. So while asking for a code, it'll give you examples. It will give you some content which are like either linear algorithms or the algorithms that are very frequently used and not the ones which are like complex to understand. For example, if I say I use ChatGPT a lot in my organization and as an architect as well, it really makes my task easier. So if I have to generate a code, I'll say, give me code to connect to database. So as you can see that here's a simple example in Python to connect to SQLite 3. I haven't asked it to connect to give me a code in Python for SQLite 3, but as you can see, this is for MySQL. But entire code right now, the code that has been written is the Python 3. So that can be an example of bias. I didn't ask it for code in Python, but the first code that it has given me is the Python code, whereas it could have given me the first code in C# as well. So this is an example of algorithmic bias where the algorithm on which the GPT has been trained for uses the first programming language as Python or some other thing. So that's an example. So when we talk about biasness and fairness, AI models can perpetuate biasness from their training data. As I said, it's not a problem with GPT, it's a problem with the data on which it is trained on. So when we talk about machine learning models, the biggest factor that can influence the results is the data that you are training it on. If you are, for example, the data that you are giving to it, if one example that we have seen is in case of gender bias, if I say nurse images, for all the nurse, if I label all the nurse as female only, then it is most likely, let's say my training data is 90% female and 10% male, then most likely 9 out of 10 times it is going to generate an image of a female nurse when I ask it for creating a nurse. So the problem is not GPT, the problem is data. So what can we do to eliminate this bias? Our training data should be balanced, which means that it should have equal images of nurse, female, male, if we talk about gender bias, and also when we talk about race as well. So we need to have all the colors, all the ethnics and other stuff that will kill the biasness in the AI. Definitely, again, it's just a probability score on which it is going to generate data for you, and that can vary. So, but still, we can eliminate the biases by focusing more on our data. So first way to eliminate is addressing biasness concern is we can uh, we can have a diverse data collection, which means that we need to ensure that the training data sets are representatives of all the relevant groups, uh, male and female, all the ethnics, all the races, different geographical locations and other stuff. Biasness audits. We need to regularly evaluate algorithms for biasness and fairness. So whatever algorithms we are training it, after a point of time, we need to create audits, whether it's generating biased contents or not. If it is generating biasness, unfairness, unfair content, means your GPT needs to be trained more on the data where it is showing biasness. Algorithms need to be transparent as well. So we need to be open about what algorithm we are building, and what data we are using. And we need to be have inclusive development teams, for example, diverse teams in development process, which can spot the potential biases early. So this is what biasness is. Another ethical concern that we talk about when we are using AI is the privacy concern. So what can be the concern related to privacy? Privacy means we are using, as you can see, whenever we are using data, there is there is a disclaimer. It can make mistake, check important info. But the thing is, this model has been pre-trained, but it's a self-learning model. So whatever information you are giving to it, it is going to use that information to train itself. So if I say give me same code with C sharp, so it has given me the code in C sharp. But the code that it is giving me right now, this is a sample program, which is more of a console application. Again, it has given me very raw bare bone code, which I might not use when I'm using my programming or when I'm working for a client. So being an architect, I'll say wrap this code in a class and use factory pattern. So it is now giving me a connection factory. It is generating all the code for me. It has created a factory where it is connecting to SQL database and a MySQL database, and then it is using that factory here. So what I have been doing, what it has done for me, it has created code for me, but I have also trained it what is a better way of writing the code. And after a point of time, uh, whenever somebody is going to ask the code, it will give it in a proper pattern and other stuff. So that is what training a model is all about. So if you're using your personal data to train AI models, it can violate individual rights and consent if it isn't obtained correctly. So if the AI is using your data, it is saving your information, it can use the same information and present it as a result to somebody else who might be asking for it. For example, I might give it my email. Let's say give me some sample emails. So it is creating some sample emails for me. I'll say, can you please add? Can you please add shakti@gmail.com to this list? So here is the updated list. It has added my email as well. Now, if I ask again, can you give me some sample emails? Let's see whether it's bias or not, whether it is addressing to privacy concern. I'm asking same questions. So this time it has removed it. If I am not asking it from for to add that email, this time again when I ask the same question, it has removed it. So ChatGPT is not storing that information unless I'm asking it, and it is only storing that in this particular session. That's what all the AI models should do to avoid privacy concern. They should not add any data that user is giving to it, which might be emails, credit card information, security keys, API keys. It should not store them in their database and should not spew it back when somebody else is asking those questions. So training data may contain PII such as names, address, social security numbers, credit card information, sometimes API keys, and this information can be used for identity theft, fraud, and manipulation. And we should we should use caution and avoid sharing the personal information to the generative AI tools. And that's where the concern is primarily why the adoption of these tools in organizations is a very big challenge. Although you can see that this is making my task very easier. It's generating the entire code for me in a matter of seconds. The code that I was able to generate in like 2 hours or 3 hours, I can now generate better quality code in maybe 5-10 minutes, and it's also integrate that in my code. So it is going to save me a lot of time, benefits, productivity, and also code quality. Then why organizations are not opening hearts to chat gpt and other tools, although they are helping us a lot. The point is the same, because what will happen, who is going to train my people, what is right, what is wrong? So I might have 10 developers who are using chat gpt, and what they might be doing is they might be just putting in the database connection strings, providing it to chat gpt. They might be copy and pasting the code from my repositories to ChatGPT, and it is going to train on that code. It is going to use that code and to give information to other people as well. So that is what should be avoided, and that's why organizations are very skeptical about using AI in their organizations, basically due to information disclosure and privacy concerns. So what can we do to make sure that we don't have privacy concerns? So using personal data to we need to ensure that data is collected and used responsibly. So rather than asking our people in organization not to use AI tools, we should tell them how to use them in a way that should not violate the data concern, that should not violate the privacy concerns. So we need to collect and process data transparently and securely, and only use the data that is necessary. That's for the GPTs as well. GPTs need to be programmed in a way that they should ask whether they can use your data. And of course, if they are using it, they need to have a disclaimer that we can use your data to train the model further, and but we'll use only data that is necessary. Means we will mask things. That's so. If I ask the tool, can you give me some sample window keys? I'm sorry, but I cannot provide sample window product keys. They are proprietary and governed by Microsoft licensing policies. Providing such keys would be a violation of their terms of service. Although if I go to Google, I might get more than 10, 15 pages where I can find a product key. It can take me to sites where it can give me some random Windows keys. So that's a major difference between Google and GPTs. With Google, whatever you search, it uses GPT-1, but whatever search information it is capturing from the internet, it will provide to you with some very little restrictions. These are not personalized, but with GPT, you can actually cut down what you want to show and make it more privacy oriented. So this is one of the ways where AI can be used in ethical manner. So this is a very good example where AI can be used in a very ethical manner. So we need to give users control of their data as well. We need to ask them, if we are collecting data, we need to ask users some options like, do you want to give consent to use your data or not? If they say no, we don't want give any consent, then you should not use it. And we need to use protect the data security. For example, we need to use anonymization and pseudonymization to protect identities. So if I ask it, um, give me code to connect uh, Redis cache, let it generate something, and I'll show you the example of randomization and pseudonymization. So when I say this is for local, I'll refine it more. One thing that you might have noticed is now whatever I'm asking, it is giving me the codes in C sharp only. And that's another example of bias. It has one time only I have asked it to provide me code in C sharp. And after that, all the samples that is providing to me. Now, these codes, I haven't asked it for C sharp, but it is giving me the code in C sharp. That's another example of biasness. Now, this is more of a conformational bias where it is assuming that whatever I'm asking it now is going to be C sharp. I'm only using C sharp. So um, here, as you can see, connection string, password, your access key. This is called anonymization, where rather than giving any access key, it is saying, okay, you need to replace it with your access key. So rather than giving any random security key, random password, it'll show me placeholders. So that is how you can protect the data security using the anonymization and pseudonymization and protect the individual identities. So uh, next part is about transparency and explainability. So I have asked questions and it is giving me answers as well. But how do I know whether it's transparent? What algorithm it is using to come to a decision making process? And what are the factors that influence the conclusion? So AI system should be transparent enough. With very large LLM, they lack transparency, often leaving developers surprised by their functionality. For example, let's talk about cancer detection. AI is playing a very important role in medicine, where what is the biggest problem with human? The biggest problem is we do a lot of research. Somebody does a lot of research, he gathers a lot of information. After a point of time, being human, we expire and we take all information along with us. And of learning also is difficult. It's very difficult to remember everything at once. But it's not a problem with AI and the systems. System never dies. When we talk about computers, once they understand things and you are storing those in hard disk and stuff, that information can be persistent for years unless you decide to destroy it. So AI systems are very useful in medicine because they are able to learn and able to generate contents now. And one of very common example here is its importance in cancer detection algorithm. Nowadays, you can see that a lot of surgeries which were random and like we talk about eye surgeries, they are done by robots. And a lot of new surgeries which are random, which are like routine stuff, they are now being done by AI robots using the AI machine learning techniques. Of course, it needs to be both manual as well as AI efforts where they work with doctors who are actually giving guidance how to do it. But that is how it is. With AI learning models, the cancer detection is very easy. Um, I will say compared to human because they have been trained on trillions of data where they have been provided images of people having cancer cells and other stuff, the heat patterns of the human body. You might be aware that the cancer cells radiate heat, so they are much more hot compared to the normal cells. So using the heat patterns and the images of cells, X-rays or whatever, we are able to identify cancer at a much earlier stage compared to earlier times. I remember in 2018, I was working with Microsoft and UAE government. We were training people how to use AI machine learning tools of Azure um, to create machine learning models and other stuff. I work with a lot of data scientists in UAE, and we did some career accelerators as well in UAE Accelerator. And over there, we trained some school students as well. There was this 14-year-old guy who has developed an algorithm to detect the uh, cancers cancer by using just heat patterns. So those sort of things, those sort of capabilities we have in AI. But if let's say some patient comes to me and I take all these scans, heat patterns, and then I ask AI to predict whether they have cancer or not. Now AI, let's say AI has predicted this guy is going to have cancer in 5 months. So it has given me the decision and it has come to conclusion. But how do I know what factors are there, what factor it has taken, what sort of parameters it has taken to come to that conclusion? That sort of transparency and explainability is missing from the GPT models, and that's where they need to be trained more. Like if they have come to a conclusion, what are the prognosis, diagnosis that they have done, what things they have find out, what patterns they have find out. That thing should be completely transparent and explainable. Next comes to next thing that comes is the copyright and legal issues of everything that I'm showing to you that has been curated from internet using chat GPTs and other stuff. So what about copyright and legal issues? You might be aware that there is a whistleblower. It's a very recent news. A whistleblower was killed because he raised a lot of concerns about the AI tools that they are using the open internet and they are using the copyrighted information as well to train the models, which is, I mean, that's about the information that came out. We don't know the real reason, but the in the news that's on internet is he is killed because he revealed some information about his organization where he said that they are using copyrighted information to train the GPTs, which is illegal. So how do we know that what are copyright and legal issues? So since we know that to train an AI model, we need extensive data sets for training. If I'm creating GPT for code, you might have seen this. So what GPTs are available to me? If I go to explore GPTs, it will show me all the GPTs that are there. These are topics, but if you want to go specifically for writing, these are my writing GPTs for productivity, images, video GPT, presentation and slides. Nowadays, you might have heard about AI influencers as well, AI news readers as well. So I know about some AI influencers on Instagram that are generating like 5-6 lakhs per day, and they are AI influencers means an image that is generated using AI, and it's a female. Superstar, you can say that AI superstar that is generate and people are generating video content and other stuff using AI tools and making she has around like 5-6 lakhs 5-6 million followers, and every month they are able to generate 5-6 lakhs rupees by promoting stuff products on social media. So nowadays you don't need a real model. You can create AI models, AI supermodels who will do all these tasks for you. So where does this copyright and the stuff come into picture? So all these are trained on large LLMs. They need data. They are hungry for data. Where will the data come from? I mean, the data that is available for free on the internet, you can curate. How does Google works? This Google has a lot of softwares called software programs called crawlers. That crawlers crawls all the internet on all the information, all the text, content, headers, images, whatever information it finds out on the internet, it curates that, gives it to the algorithm who is generating meaningful information out of it. So at the end, it is finding information from open internet. But what about copyrighted information? If I need to write a specific code, I need to go for copyrighted information as well. So unless and until I take permissions from the owner, it's not legal. It's not going to. It's not good to use anybody's content, and it can have real legal issues as well. So the situation now exposes people utilizing free trade model to legal, reputational, and financial liabilities, while also negatively impacting content creators and copyright holders. Nowadays, I see a lot of people are generating content and they're just using anybody's song in their videos, which is not ethically legal. And nowadays, you might be hearing that people are um, patenting their voice, their dialogues and patterns. Just recently, Jackie Shroff has patented Bhidu keyword. Yeah, you might be aware about that. So people are patenting things. Means these are copyrighted You cannot use that in your videos or your talks or imitating. If you do that, you can have legal implications. So what are the legal implications of AI? So the Times sues OpenAI and Microsoft over use of copyrighted work. A lot of information on Times are generated as it's copyright information which are generated by their content creators. And while since this information is publicly available on internet, still it is copyright. The GPTs have used that information to train themselves, and which is where the copywriting concerns came into being. So the Times is used OpenAI and Microsoft over use of copyrighted work. This is one example. And the Boom AI prompts a test of copyright law. So this copyright law will be for the GPTs, not for the people. It's not a human which is violating the copyright information. Rather, it's a bot. It's an AI. So we need to have more copyright laws and a new set of legal laws that should come in to make sure that the copywriting concerns are addressed. So to address AI confidentiality liability concern require robust security measures, including encryption and access control. You need to encrypt your data. You need to have enough access controls. You need to make sure that your data is not publicly available on internet, because whatever is publicly available on internet, no matter it's copyright, people are going to bound to use that, and then you have to take the measures. So better safe than sorry. So you have to include encryption, access control. You have to establish clear policies on data handling, and user training reduces the risk. For example, as I said, I need to train my developers what all data they can provide to ChatGPT. If I'm working on inside an organization, I just cannot allow them to copy and paste whatever data they find in my code repositories and in my manuals and stuff to ChatGPT to provide meaningful contents. They cannot use our data to create PPTs. So people, what they are doing is to create PPTs. They are just uploading the Word documents, manuals, and stuff to these tools which are on the internet to generate very good PPTs. So this is not allowed. You cannot use you cannot do it. And how can I address it? I need to train my people what can be done, what cannot be done. Legal consultation ensures compliance, minimizing potential liabilities and safeguarding confidential information. Of course, I need to take the legal route as well. I need to ensure that we are ensuring all the compliances. Um, Next, ethical concern about AI is more related to the environments. So, uh, just a question: what do you mean by our data center, and where do all the data center reside? Can you give me answer to this question, anyone? What is a data center, and where do data centers, most of the data center reside? You can write that in chat as well. Okay. So data centers are basically clouds where the infrastructure of an organization resides, and they are energy consuming. They consume a lot of energy, and which is why most of the Microsoft data centers are deep inside the ocean. Why they are deep inside the ocean? Because it will save them a lot of cooling effort. The data centers generate a lot of heat and they need to be cooled using coolants. And it is very easy to cool when they are deep inside the ocean because the temperatures are very low over there. So the cooling energy required to cool those data centers is going to be much less compared to a data center that is on top on land somewhere. So again, data centers consume a lot of energy, but AI uses to since it need to consume a lot of data, it makes use of grid computing and other supercomputing things to get meaningful information out of that big data. So it need to consume a lot of energy. Where does that energy come from? It's not easy to have that much energy. So we are relying for energy. We are relying on fossil fuels, petrol, diesel, and other sources. To minimize the environmental impact, we need to use renewable source of energies. So generative AI costs are soaring and mostly secret. the uneven distribution of AI's environmental impact. These are some of the case studies that people have written for the environmental impact of AI. So the only thing that we can do to minimize the environmental impact is transitioning to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, and adopting energy efficient practices can mitigate these negative impacts. Next topic is about disinformation and fraud. So a lot of people in the last election, a lot of people were saying, and a lot of people were saying that other countries, I'll not name any country, but they said other countries are trying to influence our election. How can anybody influence an election process? It's an open question. How can somebody influence our election process? The thing is, if somebody lie, yes, creating fake video is one very good example where we can just generate some creating fake video is a content. So generating fake contents, creating fake narratives about anybody. You must have seen Modi ji dancing in one of the AI viral videos. We can do anything using AI. So we can impact voters' perception via social media. Definitely, we can impact it. So creating content that people want to see and people don't want to see. So if I'm Congress, or if I can be a congressman, or I can be a BJP guy, I can be affiliated to any party. And what I can do is to downgrade others, to show them down. I can create and generate contents that may be fake. Who cares? Nowadays in social media, nobody cares about where the authenticity is, where the information is coming from, whether it's genuine or not. The first thing that you do whenever you receive some content in WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, if you like it, if you are a party supporter and this content is supporting your party, you will just forward it without verifying the authenticity of it. And that creates biasness concern, that creates issues. People can be easily rigged. People can be easily uh, shown content that can make them believe certain things which are not real, which are fake actually. Definitely it can be used in positive direction also, but here we are talking about the news that came up that other countries are trying to rig our elections. So negative impact, definitely. So AI and other content creating platforms. Nowadays, you will see a tweet. Somebody creates a tweet, and then people starts following suit. Everybody is creating tweets and the stuff from ChatGPT, and you will see that the contents are same. They will just be different in few words, but they are same. So that is what generating a narrative is. This is called toolkit. So everybody is generating content, and the content can be used in a positive way. It can be used in a negative way as well, depending on how you use it. But this information can be used to rig elections. This information can be used to uh, 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 harm people. For example, it can create animosity among people. It can create riots as well. If I create a false information, India is a country which is having multiple religions. So if we spread such kind of information, it's very easy to create riots, and that's where AI can be used in a positive way as well. If we are able to find out, if we create some tools which can find out, identify what are the sources and whether the information is fake or genuine, we can really save a lot of information and disinformation as well. So disinformation trained on data from the open internet, generative AI tools have the potential to spread propaganda, disinformation, and conspiracy theories. So as in one of the sessions, we have seen that the tools can take information from Wikipedia as well, which is, and in, you know what where Wikipedia data can come from. Anybody can write it, anybody can modify it. So if the source of information to generate the AI tools is Wikipedia, means it can lead to propaganda theory. It can lead to disinformation and conspiracy theory, right? So bad actors can use these tools to mislead and deceive through AI generated text, images, and videos. I was reading an article recently about somebody who generated, who wrote a content on Wikipedia. There was this girl called Fatima, and he wrote a lot of articles on internet, and created content that she was the first Muslim teacher in India. And he said this was all fake information I written, but on this article, people generated a lot of information. They lot of conspiracy theories came in on top of that. So that's where you see that spreading fake information, propaganda, and stuff is very easy to create on internet, and that's where we need to see uh, how we can prevent that disinformation, how we can prevent that fraud. So yeah, some links and articles. Test yourself which cases were made by AI. So if you go to this link, it'll ask you, it'll give you some images. You need to click which is a real one, which is generated by AI. And it generates eye-popping videos as well. You have seen the videos where Modi was dancing and stuff. Um, every day nowadays, you are seeing videos where we are just morphing the face. So how can we address disinformation and fraud? Data collection, aggregating vast amount of transactional and behavioral data from various sources, rather than relying on few sources, just like Wikipedia and things. We need to have the data coming from various sources, and it should be vast amount of data rather than few data, and it should be both transactional and behavioral. Then we need to focus on feature engineering, where we identify and select relevant attributes or features of data that could indicate fraudulent behavior. As in one, and as you might be aware, there are some outliers. We were talking about outliers in the previous model. So outliers are data points that are very far away from the real data. So when we are creating a machine learning model, we plot the data points, we plot all the data that are coming, and most of the data forms a cluster, which is they belong to a particular group. But there are some data points which are very far away from group, which we call as outliers. So we should not rely on outlier to generate information. Rather, we should identify and select only the relevant attribute and features that can indicate a fraudulent behavior. Model training, definitely using historical data to train machine learning models to recognize fraud pattern. This has been used in past as well for detecting banking frauds. How can we detect banking fraud? So if they are training the model properly, they will see that my usual behavior of accessing a banking website is from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. After that, I don't usually access my banking website. So if there are any transactions that are happening on 1 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that means this is an outlier. This is actually an outlier which can be taken in a negative sense. If there are any outliers, means these can be fraudulent activities, and models can be trained to catch those outliers, and we need to train the machine learning models to identify frauds in this way. Anomaly detection means applying statistical techniques to identify outliers that diverge from patterns. Continuous learning, we need to keep updating the model with new data. As I said, there are we have earlier discussed that you have trained your model, but what will happen? The data changes after 6 months. There will be new data that might be very different from the data on which you have trained your model. So if you don't retrain your model, it will give all the false predictions with this new data set now. So the models need to be retrained with the new data every time, and the system need to evolve to identify the fraud tactics. Alerting and reporting is another important feature. We should flag suspicious activities and provide detailed report for further investigations. And next, last important thing is accountability. All the third-party audits of AI model need to be done to ensure the accountability and ethics. You can also regularly monitor AI systems for ethical issues and can take corrective actions. So this is what accountability was all about. And I won't take much time here. I have already taken a lot of time. So this was all about ethical considerations while working with the generative AI. So whether you want to use it or not, I think generative AI should be used. It should be everything should be adopted with open hands. But we need to consider the ethical considerations as well. And only thing knowledge is the thing that can help you when you're working with these models, and they are going to help you a lot in your journey as a developer, as a human. They are going to help you a lot, but don't completely rely on these models. uh, Learning is a continuous process. You should not just uh, copy and paste everything from it. Otherwise you will forget traits, will forget things, you will forget knowledge. Knowledge is something that need to be refined over time, and knowledge is something that you gather over a period of time. If you don't put too much effort into it, you will start losing it, right? So you should use GPTs wisely. They should help you in your job, but you should not be doing your job just by GPTs. That's what my consideration is. So thank you. That's it from my side. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable session. We are extremely fortunate to have Mr. Tanvar sir with us today, and I am certain his session will provide us with valuable insights into the complexities and opportunities that Generate AI brings to both research and industry. So now I am giving over to the Sonia ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Shakti sir, for your valuable session. Any queries from any of the participants? On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to all participants for their active engagement throughout this FDP. Your insightful questions and valuable contributions have enriched the learning experience for everyone. To further enhance future FDPs, we kindly request you to spare a few moments to provide your to provide your valuable feedback over here. I would request few of the participants to please provide your valuable feedback over here. You can raise up your hand so that we can provide the mic permission to you so that you can give your valuable feedback for further improvements. Anyone from the participants? You can just raise up your hand so that we can provide you. Yes, Dr. K.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. I'm Dr. Triyana Sandam from Shankara
Sir, you
College.
can switch on your camera once.
Yeah, 1 minute, ma'am. Actually, I'm in the place where the visibility is not clear, ma'am. Yeah.
No problem, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, the entire session what you have organized was excellent, ma'am. We are able to gain lot of knowledge from the sessions whatever we have you have conducted. The entire session we were able to learn new things with related to AI and the ethical issues what we have discussed. Everything was nice, ma'am. Thank you for the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, ma'am, Praveen Kumar Singh this side from Agrasen
Good evening,
College.
sir.
Ji.
Sir, can you be able to switch on your camera?
Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure.
I would also put open the WhatsApp group after few minutes so that you can also put up your feedback on the WhatsApp group.
Also, ma'am, we will take our one group photograph.
Yes, ma'am. Let them complete with the feedback. Then
Yeah,
I would
sure,
request
sure.
everyone. Yes. Yes, Praveen, sir. Nidhi, ma'am, you can give your feedback. Anirudh, Mr. Anirudh, can you give your feedback?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Anirudh, yes, you are audible. Can you switch on your mic? Sorry, your camera?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So, good evening, everyone. So, talking about today's sessions, I absolutely loved all three of them, especially how we need to take accountability as told by everyone. But there are some noteworthy sessions which I took notes. Uh, so, the one which was done by Dr. R.K. Datta on weather forecast, it was absolutely lovely session. He met Rajiv Gandhi, sir. He told us about it. And at that age, having so much energy, he spoke continuously. He didn't even take a break. It was very inspiring. And then Atul Grover, sir, and Rajiv Dave, sir. Those sessions were also good. They were on image generation and AI and finance. I loved them. I did connect them on with them on LinkedIn, and they seem very enthusiastic over there as well. And keeping in mind all the sessions were pretty good, and especially our attention span in online classes is very different. But here, all 150 participants, 160 participants are coming daily, and it was really engaging, and I really appreciate it. Thanks to all the organizing committee, Sonia ma'am, Pallavi ma'am, and Ravish Sagar sir, for this amazing FDP. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anirudh. Yes, sir, you can give your Rajendra, sir. Rajendra Vyas.
Yes, ma'am. Madam, can we have some option that we can identify that which material is under copyright or legal complication or which is free? Means can we have some identifier to say or some website that can say that this material is free for use or something like that? Thank you.
Any other one who needs to give the feedback?
Can I
Yes,
give, ma'am?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, ma'am. Do I need to switch on my camera also?
If possible, you can switch on.
Okay. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Shweta Taneja from Bhagwan Parshuram Institute of Technology, Delhi. And I attended the FDP, and it was really wonderful very much informative. The sessions were really informative. Like Gen AI is a topic which is recently emerged. The still research is going on. It is in its start stage. So still the research is going on in this area. So we got knowledge about different concepts, different applications of Gen AI. It was really very much insightful, ma'am. And the lecture on deep fakes also, it was very much informative for us. So the FDP at a whole, the FDP was very much informative for us, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the organizing team. It was really wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Krupa Trivedi.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're audible, ma'am.
Good evening to one and all present over here on the online platform. Myself, Dr. Krupa Trivedi, and I would like to say today that, first of all, I want to thank the organizers, because I do believe they are the architect. They have done a lot of efforts for designing the whole workshop, for the selections of resource persons. So whatever knowledge today at the end of this 6 day we are getting is because of your hard effort. And we gain a lot of knowledge in this topic. Our existing knowledge has increased definitely. What is new going on? I learned the AI tool for research like LitMap, Consensus, and many other Mint Meter and all that. So I really thank the organizer, thank all the resource person and the participants. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Who needs to give the feedback can switch on the
Hello,
mic.
ma'am. I'm Shivkumar here from SRM IST, Chennai. It's a wonderful to be here as a part of this FDP, 1 week faculty development program from 13th to 18th January. So almost every recent topics has been covered starting from day 1 to day 6. So starting from text generation with NLP, image generation with NLP, prompt engineering, generative AI in finance, weather forecasting, deep learning models that are used in generative AI and healthcare. Yesterday, we have got a very good session with the resource person. A case study also has been done in healthcare. And today we had ChatGPT, the concept behind the ChatGPT, and so many other things. It's a very well informative session. We have gained a lot of new techniques and methods to be used. And thank you for the organizers to create such a wonderful FDP. And we are very much interested to have this session, ma'am. Thank you for having this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all the participants. Yes, ma'am. Shubhra, ma'am, you can.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizer, right? The session was well structured and engaging. The resource persons were knowledgeable, especially Datta sir, and all the young speakers also. The practical example which they have taken, discussed, the question answer rounds, all was well done. I would love to do another faculty development program by you all. All the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all the participants. We would open the WhatsApp group for your valuable feedbacks. I would request all the participants to switch on their mics so that we can, to switch on their cameras so that we can have their photographs.